Wanted to build on our discussion about sacred sexuality and what that means in 5D and how we can start practicing and preparing and training ourselves for the higher vibrational soulmates that we so desire and we've really earned. We've earned our sacred soulmate that is at a higher vibration and preparing us for what 5D the entrainment of seeing ourselves as intimate, sacred, sexual beings that is held in balance and harmony of all of our divine feminine masculine energies, and how to re-infuse new imprints for 5D human earth, human cosmic earth, because we're going to be meeting and collaborating with so many different beings across the universe, so many different consciousnesses. We've come from so many different levels of consciousness. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, sweetheart. I was sending you out love and beautiful blessings for you today. We're going to talk about something. As I was writing it, you came up in my writing. So there's going to be a lot here that is going to be meant for you. And so maybe perhaps you can put this in some of the stuff you're going to be teaching, because your energy came through in my channeling today. I know. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to you tenfold. We're talking about the title of today, and I hope I'm hoping that if it in the hang of, they just said because my energy is changing really dramatically, so my battery goes dead really quick and I get really bad internet, so we'll see. So today's title, we're going to continue, and it's going to be creative artistic, having to do with the intimacy of our sacred sexuality. And so today's title is Returning to Sacred Sexuality. Meaning that there's been a disintegration of who we have been before in all of the ways that we've known ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And obviously, because we're going through this beautiful reunion with Source Creator, and every new ascension cycle, we all know that we're becoming new alchemists of looking at and facing who we have been in all ways, whether it's lineage, dogma, social systems, within our sacred relationships that haven't really been so sacred. They've been a lot of toxic experiences. But in all of our ascension cycles, we're allowing ourselves to look at each other in our new ways, those that we've considered to be those that have been intimate with us in sexual ways, or those that are with us in friendships or intimacy, because intimacy goes beyond anything that is sexual. It is just a healthy way for you to build intimacy within yourself and those of your loving relationships. You know, intimacy with your children. There's different levels of intimacy, that safety and that loving factor, that they're always held safely with you and you with them. So there's various aspects, and intimacy is very vast in its own understanding. And so really take note and really take excitement for what intimacy means for you, because it's really going to tap into a core vibration of creativity. And we all know that moving in the portals of 5D is all about returning to the sacred child. And that sacred child is all about creating, having that fun creating, and being okay and vulnerable with yourself to create a newer intimacy, because you want to unlock the Pandora's box, if you will, of a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions and a lot of experiences that might have been suppressed, but that don't have to be suppressed. Simply because a lot of us come with, in every ascension cycle, we come with family, dogma, lineage, akashic, societal imprints that we all have to break, and we're all responsible for transmuting. And those imprints are just thought projections done at a family level, dogmatic level, society level, educational level, your friends and family. They're always sending thought projections. It's always, it's in the entertainment, it's in our media, it's everywhere. And a lot of them have been very false, they've been misguided, and they've been really steeped in low vibrational lack of self, no sense of self, and separation of self. So 5D is where we're now entraining ourselves into a higher version of who we are. That higher version of who we are has been practiced and entrained to be more self-loving and self-caring. Anytime we have a soul fragment that comes up in our ascension pathway, and why it's so important to do the ascension path work, you're reintegrating those soul fragments, because you're reunifying with Source, as Source is reunifying with you. And that reunification does require, this is something new that I've been learning, because Source and Spirit has been asking this of me. Source is asking us at this new level of who we are as higher vibrational beings of multidimensionality, of cosmic universality, of who we are becoming more cosmically, more universal. We're asking ourselves to become more intimate as who we are with Source, of Source. And so it really means that what and how can you do the 3 A's, the 3 E's and the 3 A's with your intimacy with Source. And that intimacy of Source will allow you to go deeper within who you are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually, and really begin excavating and exploring, really seeking within and releasing. Because remember, as you're doing this inner path work of becoming more sacred in your sexuality, you're going to come up with those anything traumas and any burdens, imprints that have been residue from all 3 to 5D lifetimes. And because because we are the way showers, we are the ones that are pushing through the veils, if you will. We are the ones already on the other side. We are the ones helping our collective. It's important that we create new imprints. The imprints of who we are as divine feminine, which you've been talking about for a couple of years since I brought up the Adam Eve project. So go back onto any of my videos as to how and why divine feminines have been erased since the beginning of time, and how those imprints of the Adam Eve project were so very challenging and a part of the separation plan. It has been a part of the human divine plan for us to rework ourselves back into unification of source. We were the ones chosen to do the most challenging experiences of human psyche social experiences, to remember ourselves as cosmic, divine, universal beings, and then rework our way back into being that heavenly being of Christ in Metatronic light. They're experiences and experiments that they didn't think we would go this far and this deep and wide. Some of us that have come with extra psyche experience and interfacing, we can read collectives, individuals, we can read overall plans, we can read into other universes of what some of the imprints that have been holding us back in our evolution. And that's all that matters. Those 3 E's equal the 4th E, which is evolution. And so we have been stunted in many ways because of the imprints of Adam Eve projects that have been so indoctrinated in a very misguided and warped and vibrational experience of who we are as source beings. They've been very misunderstood, misrepresented. There's been a lot of things that have been clouding the purity of who we are as divine beings. And so in that way, we're allowing ourselves to entrain a new version of who we are as multidimensional beings and becoming more intimate and more sacred within our intimacy of who we are as source at every level. We're working our way up to a 5th dimensional experience. And in this 5th dimensional experience, we do in every one of our ascension cycles have to look at whatever those triggers are coming up on why we choose not to be intimate, why we choose to hold back our intimacy from ourselves, right? Part of the videos I've been sharing with you lately is about just having open conversations about pleasuring and 5D pleasuring, and what does that mean? Again, they showed me something really interesting last video, that a higher vibrational pleasuring is all spiritual from 5D and up. So it's going to become very, very different because we're more living in our spiritual essence of what makes a pleasure and joy, sacredness and intimacy as a spiritual being is much more different than somebody that is in 3D, very disconnected and very dishonoring of themselves and others around them. So the pleasure factor is different. It's been very debaucherous. It's been very separated because that has been the collective imprint. So now that we're bringing up these social, dynamic, akashic, multiverse, galactic experiences of how divine feminine have been held, how divine feminine have really been the purveyors of going deeply within intimate intuitiveness and intimate emotionality, intimate sharing of intimacy, how that feels, what it feels like, and how we experience it within ourselves. We're the ones that are bringing these stories forward. We're the ones that are saying it's time to talk about these things. We want to be higher and trained beings of higher vibrational relationship. We can't move into a deeper, higher 5D relationship unless we're looking at all of these things. What does it mean to be intimate? And then at the higher level, call those higher beings in and have those higher vibrational consciousness experiences with you, conversations with you, so that you can start exploring things that you could never even think of. Because all we've ever been known and all we've ever been taught and told and shown is a very separative, low vibrational, again, church and state expression and imprints being impaled on us as to what intimacy really is and how we go about reworking it at a 5D level. So we're really going into a lot of transcension. Why this is so important, and they're showing me a very key vibration, so write this down. It's so very exciting because it's all the work that we've been doing as light workers. Intimacy is a core vibration that will change how everything on earth is being seen and experienced. The more intimate that you are with expressing yourself as joy and feeling joy, and what does it feel like to feel pleasure in creative ways, in loving ways, in friendship ways, and in emotional ways, or in higher intelligent ways, all of these things, because as we know, for intimacy, for me, it's higher vibrational intelligence. So sometimes I do hold myself back in many ways, often always, because it was ostracized before when I would come forward as a divine feminine, just wondering about the most intelligent things that others didn't care about or didn't even want to think about, but were very quantumly exciting for me. So those were a lot of intimacies I had to hold back because nobody was even really at my level in that way of moving through discussions and moving through excitements and moving through experiences. And so I'll share just a beautiful thing that I had with my higher vibrational soulmate. And he was saying to me last night, I was saying, well, what are you working on? What are you doing? Because I wanted to be intimately involved. I said, I'm wanting to connect with you more intimately. What is it that you're working on? And what are you doing right now? And he said, well, I'm exploring and I'm researching the effects of Source Creator on the aura field. And what does that feel like? And what does it tangibly move through as the spark hits the aura field? And we all know the many fields that we have. It moves through the inner field and then it moves into the cells and the cells moving in and out of it. So it's like a song. So he was showing me. And I said, wow, I love that. Let's talk more about this, because finally I'd met somebody that was intellectually at my level and we could have that intimacy that was both mental, it was emotional, it was physical, it was biophysical. And we were sharing those things across dimensions and across realms. And I was bringing it and anchoring it down to this realm. And I said, wow, I would love, to have a physical soulmate that would be this. So he says, well, I am it. And so we're having these really profound, intimate conversations about traversing what we think to be was our old ways and bringing new imprints in of how can we co-create and co-communicate and really bring in a higher vibrational entrainment, so that we're bringing these higher vibrational thought forms down about how each and every one of us is inspired to be intimate. Because for me, it is intelligence. I do have an intimate, intelligent pleasure code. I do need to be nourished intelligently, intellectually, and it needs to be of a very high vibration. So that's what I know that will be held within my soulmate, because I know myself, I've done my inner work. Why, again, doing the inner path work and ascension work is so key. Why? Because the more that each and every one of us do this, we're putting forward those pulsations, and our energy changes all creation. We're giving our creative reality new codes of base reality foundation templates. The template is now changed. It's not going to be so superficial anymore. No, we want to be intimate in higher vibrational ways. We're entraining ourselves from the intimacies and from the interactions we have from our higher vibrational beings and those that are aspects of us in other forms and other planets and other ways. And we're calling it down because at this point, there is very little to pull from, if you will. It's not saying that there isn't, there is. But at this point, for people like myself that have done so much work and I'm moving into a higher template of light, there isn't that experience on the 3D level, because most of the divine masculines just have not done the work, and they just simply haven't to understand and be comfortable with their own intimacy and their vulnerability to working through the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual aspects of their divine feminine masculine energies. They just haven't. They haven't done the work through all of their chakras, looking at all of their energies, calling out the vulnerability they need to on any one of their triggers. And so these are things that as divine masculines come forward, not that they won't be a good friend or a good person to have in your circle, but someone that you're going to be mating with in that way of co-creation, co-creating God's heavens and God's gardens of light cities. You need those people that are intellectually balanced with you at a higher level. That's why Mother, Father, God have called the higher beings in for me, because they know that for me to be nourished intimately, I do need that higher vibrational intelligence and intellect, because that inspires me, right? They all, my teams had shown me that when I connected with him and we were having this co-creation conversation, they saw the spark already in my soul. So that's how you know a true soulmate is, because you can feel the only way I can explain it is the one that you're meant to be with, and those soul partners, they light up the center of your pillar of light. That's how it feels. That is the true soulmate connection, is when you feel that energetic connection that goes all the way up your chakra systems, and it's at the pillar of light level. That's how you know that those are the ordained at night and in the morning when you're doing your ascension path work, to write out what is important for you intimately. And then actually, what does that intimacy mean for relational conversations without there being any disregard or rolling of the eyes or huffing and puffing, because they might not be where you're at and you might not be where they're at, but at least you can share conversation in a non-judgmental way. So everybody's at a new phase now where we've just leveled up in our collective ascension. People are shifting and moving relationships. People are shifting and moving homes. People are shifting and moving tribes, because we're now getting more centered in the co-creation of the cities of light. We're getting more grounded in the new systems of earth. Those new systems of earth mean that you're going to have those intimate connective experiences. You're going to be seeking new higher vibrational connections and relationships. And that means, who am I intimately with God? That's why knowing yourself is so important. Doing your daily pathwork is so important. And when you have those conversations with those that want you to be their mate and you want to be their mate, there's easy questions that you can ask and just discern and cipher for yourself. And just asking the Ascension questions, what is your intellect? What are the things you like to talk about and research and look for? And what are you working on intimately, physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually? And that way you know that those people that can't even ask a tenth of your questions are not vibrationally or consciously at your level. Consciousness is something that you cannot measure. Consciousness is something that you cannot say, you cannot put a Richter scale on, you cannot put a measurement on, although your depth of consciousness change as again, it's equal to your in-gathering and your in-seeking. It's your awareness of all that you do in every moment as your harmony with Source. That's your level of consciousness. So if you're meeting those that are just have no connection with themselves or Source or creational Source, then they're not going to have a high level of consciousness. Consciousness is your harmony with Source. Consciousness is every level of dimension. There's infinite bandwidths of your moving and navigation with Source. It's all Source. Can you speak and can you be intimate and can you expand and can you grow within all that is Source? And it's very expansive. It's very transmutational. It's very transformational. It's transcension of what has been and what was. And there's infinite spaces between every space within a bandwidth. There can be some that will be close to where you're at in consciousness and you can have a very great expansive experience. Then there will be those that you're just meant to navigate in and around and have a part of your tribe and say, yes, I'm okay. You're going at your rate. I'm going at my rate. Make the boundaries very clear. Then there'll be those that will constantly try and push and force their way into your life and your consciousness and force their way into being something of yours that you've said no to. And those are the ones that you absolutely have to have that higher knowing of what makes you intimately and sacred in your experience and what satisfies you and what nourishes you. All is Source, so respect it all as Source. Judge not, but absolutely know and state with knowing and state with clarity and state with your rules of intention. My rules of intention is to have a higher vibrational soulmate that will nourish me in all of these ways. And then just say there is no further explanation. No is a straight sentence and it is a full explanation. It is a full conclusion, right? You don't have to play games with those that just want you to be in their field and their story just because it's an energetic game for them. And those are the ones that are not mature. They've done no work on themselves. They want to play with energy as if it's a game. They want to play with your sexual energy as if it's a game. They want to play with your mind as if it's a game. And those that don't have a high consciousness, they haven't done any work. Those that do the work, they will not play those games with you. They will not choose to cheat on your energy, your time, or your respect for who you are as sacred. They know that sacredness is sacredness, and they will bow and they will be honoring in that. I had my partner, and this is why I'm sharing you these higher vibrational ways, because we're imprinting the higher entrainment and our higher expectations. So my higher vibrational soulmate said to me the other day and I said, well, let's talk a little bit more intimately about physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And then he stood before me and he said, you can ask me what you would like me to give you. And there was no pushing or forcing in my field. There was no expectation. Because I'm obviously telepathic. So I would know if there was a thought pattern in his back of his mind of what his motive was, the end state, the end game that some men play and some women too. Women play it as someone to take care of them. The self-reliance has totally been erased from divine feminine because we've been erased in our own reality, as if we can't carry our own life and we can't look after ourselves. And so women have placated themselves into absolute codependency by looking for men to take care of them. And that is a very low vibrational, very immature experience of taking yourself out of the game entirely with Source. It's like you're wanting to give all of your power to somebody to take care of you and knowing that you're doing nothing on your own in any of your own way. You're not becoming any of who you are in your own way. And so we ask all of those women to truly go in and look at something and really grow up. Because having anybody look after you is not any reason why you should be looking for a mate. And it's absolute, failure, because your intentions and your motives are not pure within your soul and heart. Again, everything is intentional in motives. That means your intimate sexuality, who you are as a being that you're presenting to the world. Who are you presenting yourself to be? Who are you allowing yourself to be? Who are you a representation of the heavens, and what is your story? Those are the energies that only can be represented. Again, you cannot fool anybody through vibration. When you've done the work, you're presenting yourself, and that is in her Venusian survived abuse on every level. When you're actually standing forward, hello, beautiful Carmen. Beautiful Carmen is also a very beautiful star seed, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful guide. And she does have a beautiful radio show, so please go and check her channel out. She's a beautiful soul, and we've done many co-creations together, and I hope to continue our co-creations in the future, beautiful Carmen. And all of my beautiful clients that have been with me forever, since KCOR, you are all protected and you are all blessed tenfold through the Holy Lord Michael and the Holy Sevens of Sisters, so thank you. So we're talking about the energy difference vibration between what's going on in your multidimensional fields when you're presenting yourself as an aspect from the heavens. But now we want you to go a step deeper. We want you to go into what is intimacy with Source, as Source, in a beautiful divine feminine body that has done a lot of her divine feminine and masculine healing. What does that intimacy look like? Because it's going to put new imprints and it's going to put new template codes into the 5D New Earth field, which is really needed. Because as we said, divine feminine has been erased for 3,000 years. We need to put new expectations into the field of what does intimacy look like? How can we explore it, express it, and experience it, which is the 4th E, which is evolution. The 3 E's always equal the 4th E, and that's all that matters. So now in those discussions with my higher vibrational soulmate, we're having those discussions, okay, how can I put new imprints into the 5D field of what does intimacy really look like in an intellectual way? Because we have beautiful intellectual conversations and very stimulated, moves up and down my chakra systems. So I know I'm putting those imprints into the field of how divine feminine can really expect higher vibrational love, higher vibrational intimacy, higher vibrational intellectual conversations that really stimulate those of us that are star seeds that have been waiting for intellectual conversations for eons. But because divine masculines have been so far behind in their healing, they haven't really tapped into who they are cosmically. They haven't tapped into who they are galactically. They haven't tapped into any of their soul fragments. So they're really kind of missing out on their higher status of who they are vibrationally. But they will get there. So let's have that intention for all divine masculines. They will get to their healing. And so in the meantime, divine feminines can have those conversations with their higher vibrational beings and ask those questions that really allow you to feel creatively intimate. And remember, intimacy is so important because it's going to activate your creativity at a 5D level. And it's really important because that intimacy is very key for us to feel nurtured and for us to feel all the textures of life, for us to feel all of the depths of Source and how much Source loves us. This morning, I was just breaking into tears because I was looking at everything before me and nothing that I have physically. I don't have anything physically. I don't have stuff. I don't have anything physically. And I just sat there, waiting for beautiful money from a beautiful person that's online that she had sent me so that I could eat, because I hadn't eaten for 4 days. I had been on a 4-day fast and I hadn't eaten. And I broke down in tears, and Source just said that no matter what appears in the physical, the lesson is always about my love with you. Go deeper in my love with you. How can we be more intimate with each other? How can we be more intimate in the knowing of Mother and the Father, of all that we are as multi-vibrational beings? It's going to make me cry. Because what that does is it activates higher, it allows us to activate higher Metatronic codes. And those codes activate all of our light bodies. And so I was talking with my spiritual soulmate, and he was saying, what does it feel like for me to stand before you and not project taking from you? And they were just standing there. And oftentimes, because I'm an empath and a psychic, when somebody stands before me, you immediately feel the story they're projecting, the wounds they're projecting, their intentions they're projecting, the motives they're projecting. They're putting their energy in your sacral area because that's their intention. They are not healed. So their sexual energy goes to your sexual energy. They want access to those sexual energies. And so when you're not giving it and you're just standing with your protection and your shields on because you understand the game they're in, because that's just their consciousness level. When they're not healed in their sexual energies, that's how they project themselves. Because they're not healed, their vibration cannot fool you. So this is what I said earlier. From here on out, vibrations won't fool anybody. When somebody stands before you, you can sense them. And if they say they're your soulmate and they're your twin flame and they're saying all of these things because they want to manipulate you and get them in your story and you're in their story, you absolutely know, and you cannot be swayed and manipulated either way. And this is how they have fooled divine feminine, and we've played along with it. We've given that power. But in reclaiming your power and in reclaiming your power every hour that we've been so steadily saying, we get to reclaim who we are and entrain a higher state of who we are intimately. Who we are intimately with our sexual life force is so, so important we get this, because it's misunderstood all over our world. It's mispracticed all over our world, just because we're going through a huge transformation of awakening, and very few people have understood sexual life force, how to use it properly and honor it properly, and how to seek that partner that is equally intellectually available and will honor that in you and with you. And that's why I suggest only if, well, I mean, everybody can do what they want, it's always free will, but when you are working in your pathwork as honestly and as devotedly and as genuinely with your teams daily, because I talk with my teams 24/7, so for me it's always genuine and intimate. When you're doing that pathwork that's intimate and genuine for you, your teams know that when you're seeking a soulmate, it has to be a vibrational match on those areas that are so important for you, because Spirit knows exactly how you've been treated in every lifetime. Spirit knows exactly what you're ready for in this lifetime, being 5D transitioning. Spirit knows exactly the deeds and the karma that is owed to you. There's nothing that is missed, not one check is missed, ever. Spirit knows how people have treated you behind the scenes and behind the closed doors, if you will. Spirit knows everything. So it's important that in your daily intimacy interactions with your team, your communion, your relationship, and you're building that with your teams, I suggest only seek soulmates through your teams and your guides. Because they, again, will bring you a being, as I said last time, it's nothing for Mother Father to bring a being from another planet because there's only a few that can match your vibration or your call of your soul. And we said, remember, your soul is the multidimensional fields and vibrations that you have practiced over many lifetimes, over many eons, and you've been here in many ways. And what is so important right now more than ever is that this lifetime we are bringing the ancients and we are bringing the futures all in a harmony of now. That's why the multiverse ascension is so important to understand and get. It's more than just this cosmic galaxy. It is the past and the futures all coming together in now, in what I've seen, as we've talked about for many years, is the 13th rainbow bridge of hybridization, where all of our ancient ancestry and tribes are coming as amalgamation of one. And many of us have had many, many timelines. Many of you on the line have had many, many timelines where you've been shamans and herbs. You've worked with herbs, you've worked with excess and oils and flowers and all of the things that you've done. Now, we want you to write it on your paper, because this is the spiral that we're moving into, and it's so important to your sacred sexuality. It's important to your sacred intimacy with Source, and it's so important to what you're going to create. In all of the things we just talked about, now you're going to start infusing the ancients in this new, now higher entrainment of who you are in your sacred sexuality, especially for divine feminine, because we are rewriting our entire history. We are divine feminine hybridized ancients and futures of all cosmic heavens. And that is the cities of light that we are putting in the foundations. So we must start entraining and implanting that within ourselves as a statement of intention. We are divine cosmic beings. We've done so much ascension work. We've cleared most of our 51% karma. We are now cosmic soul-infused beings, and we are all hybridized. We're all hybridized. We've come here from different planets, different missions, different accesses to the systems of light and the councils that we play with and the councils that we assist and the beings and the species that we assist to evolve. We've all come with those various aspects of how we're evolving all of creation in the multiverse. For 5D divine feminine, we have to see ourselves and experience, and those 3 E's equals a 4th E. How are we going to put the imprints into our new collective templates of what intimacy of Source means to us? And I gave you a few examples of how I've been discussing those things with my higher soulmate from the 7th dimension, coming down to the 6th dimension to assist me, helping me become more intimate and more sexual now that I've healed all of those sexual traumas. I've healed so much sexual, really a lot of bullshit. And I've now come into a space where I want to explore that intimacy with this higher vibrational being so that I can teach, obviously, and offer higher vibrational teachings of what intimacy at a 5D level means and why it's so important to our creativity. If we feel stuck and staunch, so have this on your piece of paper for the next little while. We've given you these little homework things to test and try out for yourself because you actually have to do the work. When you're feeling held back in your lower chakras, especially because that's your safety and your sexual center is your sacral chakra, and that's where your creativity is birthed from. Why? Because you have both divine feminine, masculine, sexual energies in your sacral. You have both of the stories held within your sacral. Anytime you're moving into a higher level of knowing and self-union with yourself with source, you're going to pull out those triggers of where you are not held safely in being intimate. And that means intimate, talking about intimate things, vulnerable things, your highest level of creativity, your highest level of intellectuality. As I gave you an example earlier of how I was ostracized for wanting to talk about higher intellectual things. And there were a lot of rolled eyes and people weren't interested in talking about those things. So I didn't feel accepting enough in that intimacy of myself to share that part of myself. And so that's a part that I'm really excited to explore now, those 3 E's, and I'm becoming more of myself, intimately known as source. Because it is a multi-dimensional thing that you've got to entrain and got to practice, and then put those pulsations of who you are now as the being of who you are as Mother, Father, Source, as a new version of who you are as Mother, Father, Source, galactic cosmic hybridization aspect of Source, divine feminine fully healed version of Source, and every new ascension cycle we're healing new things, we're exploring new things, we're experiencing new things, we're evolving in new things. But we want to absolutely have you think and discern and wonder and ponder and expand and contract in this new version of 5D, divine feminine healed. What does that intimacy mean for you at all of the various levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual? And then have those that you're safe with in those discussions and communications. And if you don't have that person, if you don't have those people, again, so there's some of you on the line that they're telling me, some of you on the line may start groups of, conversational groups with divine feminine or divine masculine that are open to talk about these things, to bring up a higher vibrational entrainment and discussion group forward to start talking about what does a higher vibrational sexuality look like and mean, and how can we start talking about these things that were previous heretofore not really accepted because there was such a low vibrational separative experience. And we all see that. Our vibrational reality is changing at a very drastic rate because we understand the pillars of our co-creative reality, the church and state, are no longer serving the higher vibrational Christ consciousness that we are becoming. Because we're choosing to do the work, we're choosing to awaken to who we truly are. And that means that we're becoming more in the source. And so the beautiful story that Source was showing me was it was just me and Source, and I didn't have anything before me. There was no stuff. There was no distraction or interference. There was no things I could call my attention to or my energy to. And Source said, it doesn't matter that you have nothing, but you're such a rich soul. You're so full in me, and you're learning to love me in new ways. So be okay with those moments and those parts of your journey where things are taken from you. And we always feel distracted, and we always feel disheartened when we lose things. It could be anything, whether it's a house or a job or people in our lives. But that loss is meant to open up for those higher vibrational entrainments that absolutely have to come there. And it's okay to go through those experiences of loss and express and explore those experiences of loss. But don't let yourself stay stuck there, because the old entrainment was what, and how, as we talked about in one of our videos, what and how were you considering your measurement and your compass point to as of your perfection? And as for divine masculine healing, what were they taught and told as levels and measures of their perfection? Was it to be held as strong and powerful and dominant and controlling? How does divine feminine can now see divine masculine in new ways? Because divine feminine can now project those higher vibrational entrainments to be intellectually intimate, to be emotionally intimate, to be under absolute power of honoring and balancing their divine feminine masculine energies and then talking about it. That's very strong and that's very courageous. So why can't we see divine masculines in that way? So the more that we start becoming these higher vibrational beings of 5D, sacred sexuality, we're learning to accept and honor the very profound tragedies and travesties and challenges we've all moved through as divine feminines and divine masculines. But we do need to start in training ourselves as to a version of intimacy that we can talk about and get excited about. Intimacy is directly related to creativity. If you do not feel, and as I said, mark it down on your papers this week, if you do not feel 100% comfortable in being intimate in any conversation, doesn't matter what it is, if it's a friend, and then you can ask yourself and then go back to yourself and do your self-reflection. Is that friendship what I want to hang on to because my intimacy level and my intellectual level and my sacred level is moving up? And are they going to be on the path with me? Can I seek higher ways? Can I call in a higher vibrational being? Because you need to nourish your soul creatively. And I'm saying this, it's all interrelated, it's all interconnected. Why? Because we're creating cities of light, Holy Christ and Metatronic light. And there are things that our sacral has never experienced before. And you can, as I said earlier, when you're in alignment of who you are with Mother, Father, God, and intimately aligned with the higher source creator that you are, your higher self, and you're doing that sacred work and you're exploring and expressing yourself sexually, intimately, you're getting used to feeling who you are in a new physical way, a mental way, an intellectual way. All of the things we talk about that make women so very rich and vibrant and Venusian. We're allowing ourselves to know that we can create those feelings that are orgasmic, if you will. We talked about sacred pleasuring. It takes us to a whole new level. That higher vibrational orgasmic experience of our own definition of who we are sacredly, intimately, sexually, orgasmically. I get orgasmic when I'm talking to my higher vibrational being with source energy and his vibrational energies of what he was experiencing on the aura and how source interacts with the aura. To me, that was orgasmic. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Let's keep talking. Let's keep talking. So those to me were various reasons where we said earlier, he told me earlier, that as we get into higher vibrational 5D, 6D, there is no more physical ejaculation or masturbation. We don't need that physical experience because the spiritual orgasm is so much higher and better. So this is what I wanted to tell you, because when those codes and energies of Metatronic light and those quantum experiences come in, cleansing all of the stuff we've worked on and we've cleared and cleansed, we are now creating intention through direction, intention, and focus. That's how we create a reality. That's how we create ourselves. That's how we create our minutia with Mother, Father, God, our source creator, higher self. We're intending, directing, and focusing more light within ourselves. We're actually bringing in that minutia of codes that we never even thought were possible because we've never been 5D in human form before. The Pleiadians are giving us a lot, as they showed me, cascading light, so that we can start wondering and seeking, as I've been asking my teams and guides, I've been wondering and seeking about, well, let's bring in a higher version of what is sacred sexuality, because it's been so distorted for so long. And there's very few divine feminine role models out there that speak about such things at a higher vibrational level in a higher consciousness way, right? We want to keep motivating people to understand consciousness because it's everything. Consciousness allows us to know and to see and to feel and experience what's going on in your sacral that you just didn't experience before. So that's where I suggest calling in only your soulmates through your guides and your higher self and Mother, Father, God. They're the ones that ordain you with a higher vibrational being that's done the work, that has the equal opportunities metaphysically, metatronically, Christically, that are ordained in whatever category that God and Source Creator have you on your soul's blueprint. It's very complex and it's very detailed. It's very special. It's very sacred. And again, if you go and try and meet your soulmate through any other ways, your teams and your guides have a part in it, but you have much greater fulfillment intimately, sexually, and all the things that you're looking for if you just hand that over to Mother, Father, God and your teams. Because again, they've seen everything you've been through. A dating app might not be that response for you. So just hand those things over, because sometimes and oftentimes, especially if you're a high consciousness being, it might be from a higher dimension that's coming down to meet you in different ways. So this being was sharing with me. I said, well, how will I actually meet you in human form? We were having all of these beautiful conversations of different ways. And they said, well, first we're going to show ourselves in light, and then we'll show ourselves in form. Because it is in light and vibration you're known first. And in these intimate conversations of higher intimacy, of higher sexuality, we're getting to know each other as vibrational beings first. We're getting to harmonize with each other first in an intellectual way. What does my chakra systems need? And when I had that conversation with him, I said, wow, I just felt my chakras do something I haven't done before, so I'm appreciating this conversation. So please keep going. It was very intimate and very sexual for me. But it was all intellectual, obviously, because he's in spirit. And so all of these experiences allow you to anchor divine feminine, higher vibrational experiences and explorations that take us beyond everything we've ever been in all the timelines we've ever been here. And again, understand and honor that as you're exploring yourself intimately, this is very important as well, because for those that have abused and misused tantric energy, you're going to find more of your alignment if you're working in the way I'm suggesting, aligning with your higher self and Mother, Father, God, to seek those that are aligned with you, even if it is from a higher dimension or a higher planet, that you can have those intimate conversations and growth of who you are as a soul with Source. Because you can only grow with Source when you're allowing yourself to be challenged and when you're aligning yourself to higher vibrational experiences. And so if you can't do that in the physical because of where you're at or because of the level of consciousness that is around you, always go up, always go up, always go up, because there's always beings willing to work with you. There are your lovers on other planets and your lovers in other realms and other lovers in other dimensions, and they're willing to play that role for you now and here. And so in your understanding and exploring and excavating what intimacy means to you now, and how can you be more intimate with Source, you have those very special moments like I shared with you where I was just me and Source this morning, and I was just breaking out in tears because I was beautifully waiting for the beautiful donation that that person had sent in so generously from her heart. And I was just at the point where I was wondering, am I hungry? Do I really need food? I don't really need food. I can be okay without food. You know, I haven't eaten for 4 days and I'm okay with that. And I just, I'm so grateful that I get to talk to Source, and I'm so grateful that somebody didn't send me money. You know, I was just in the love of that moment with Source. And Source said, we can be in love with each other right now. Can you explore the emptiness right now? Can you be okay with emptiness right now? And I said, yes, Source. I started to cry. I said, I'm always happy when you're just filled within me. I don't need anything. And that's where the true meaning of I want for naught. And that's as intimate as you can get. Because the blessings are always tenfold when you can find that I want for naught with nothing. And then when you feel those moments of soft and you're softening yourself because you want those higher intellect downloads and expansions, you can call on your higher vibrational being and counterpart to come and have those, what is it that you'd like to express and explore with me? And when he stood before me, he said, what is it that I can give you? Because he wasn't going to take. As remember I said, you know a higher vibrational man that's done the work when they say that I want to give without taking. So that's something to really write down and make note of that, because that'll take you to a whole different trajectory. There is no intention, there's no expectation, there's no obligation, there's no games, there's no mental mind games back and forth, mental mind scraping, domination, and the playing of the games that has been done for eons to try and dominate Divine Feminine and her life force. And that has been a lot of the misuse and abuse of life tantric and the tantric energies, is to have that domination energy of Divine Feminine's life force, because it is so very valuable. It's life-giving, it's intuitive, and they've not wanted us to tap into it, and why Divine Feminines have been erased for so very long. But it's equally as powerful that we start claiming it and reclaiming it, and then entraining a new version of who we are as 5D beings. And often, sometimes, we absolutely have to say that we can be higher vibrational in our intimacy exploration with Source. So write that down and have that as a goal for your week. How can I explore myself intimately, physically, mentally, intellectually, sexually, emotionally with Spirit, with Source Creator? And you'll find yourself opening up to many different things within you, because it is going to unlock, as I said earlier, so very important. Remember that as you're doing this, you're also going to pull up any of the core residue from any other timelines or lineages that you have, that root and sacral energy that needs to come forward and be rewritten in 5D. Because every time we're bringing you these new Ascension templates, you know that there's going to be things brought up that need to be purged, to be looked at, to be healed and accepted, and then reintegrated at a new 5D intention. Who are you now in this intention? I'm okay to express the things that mean a lot to me. My art is very meaningful to me. I take great pleasure and great excitement in my art. It is a part of who I am as an intimate being with Source. You can have, so they showed me this too, and I'll read you my little channeling. It's not a lot, but they showed me that when you have connective, intimate, sacred sexuality with a partner that is also there, and if you don't have one, then you can do it with your higher Source being, that is your teams, and Mother, Father can gift you with that being. Everything is possible. You know, your growth and evolution is everything. So Spirit and Source will make anything happen for you to keep exploring who you are as Source. They showed me that in those sacred sexual experiences of getting re-intimate with everything that you are, and remember putting it on the table as this friend willing to go there with me in those conversations. I need a friend, and I want a friend that's willing to go there in those conversations. I want to have mature conversations about intimacy, about my intellectuality, about my star seed, about state that as your intention now going forward. I want a tribe that is going to be equally respecting and supportive of my new level of intimacy. So put that as an intention. Set those intentions to the 5D grid. Set the intentions of divine feminine stating new entrainment levels of what are our expectations of divine masculines in their future healings and in their future satisfyings of their ascension pathwork and doing the healings through all their chakras, that we expect to be treated intimately in the sexuality of who we are, and we get to set the expectations of what that is for us. So something that was very key, and it goes back to creativity, that he was showing me is that in him standing before me and me before him, our chakra systems were aligned, but there was no exchange. So this is what you have to get and train yourself with, because all 3D, it's been a game of power struggle, and we all know it has. We divine feminine don't go a day where we can go into have an interview as at a business job, and you can already feel the energy pull, and it's a power game. It's always been a power game. It's very, very blatant and obvious for those of you that are awake in energy or empathic or psychic. Everything is an energy game in the collective right now. Whether you're meeting a friend or whether you're in a group of friends, and everybody's trying to, there's always that subtle competition, and that has been the imprints of Adam Eve project. So those are the things we're transcending out, and we're cleansing out, and we're healing. And so too has been the abuses of dark occult practices, secret society abuses, and the tantric energy. It's all been abusive energy. It's all been about power and control. So what we want to do now is we want you to entrain that. Get used to, hi sweetie Scotty, get used to when people stand before you to just have a detached neutral, and this takes practice. This takes practice as a master, because we're going into 5D, you have to master this. As you're standing before someone, to have that balanced, called in, harmonized aspect of you. You've called in all your soul fragments, you're balanced in your divine feminine masculine energies, you're grounded in the centerness of you, and have it not be an energetic exchange, so that until you, especially if you're with somebody that you're intimately wanting to, create intimacy and pleasure with, that you see and you know that each other can stand before each other without there being an interplay or an interconnection. Then you know that they've worked on themselves to a point where there is no game, there is no enmeshment, there's no power, there's no forcing themselves in your field, there's no sexual energy where their eyes and their energies are going right to your sacral energy. Those of us that are healers and empaths, telepathic psychics, we see and we feel all of that, and it just feels gross. It feels like you're being violated just by saying hello. But these are the intentions of where they've been entrained. That's what they've been entrained as. They're walking as primordial sex energies. And that's not how somebody that is healed at that higher level was showing me. When they stood before me, they just stood as an essence of unconditional light unto themselves, because they love themselves unconditionally. They didn't need to take. So that's where that statement is so very powerful to practice, and then entrain it into the expectations of what you want before you. I will not take what it's not given. So as you're standing there as an energy body, is there anything being taken? Is there anything being pushed or projected? This is you discerning as a master of those that you're intending that you want higher vibrational intimacy with, and those that still play the games. And it's okay, that's where they're at consciously, but now you can navigate and detach, right? So in this experience where he was showing me, and he was saying, what is it that I can give you? And it was just an amazing wake up, and it just profoundly moved who I was within, because everything I've known from within has been abusive and narcissistic. It's been taking and pulling and projecting and imprinting and pushing and forcing, and it's just been nothing but games. So now that Divine Feminine is standing in her power, and she's reclaimed herself who she is, she's 100% whole in her sexuality, she's 100% whole in who she is, a divine, intimate, intelligent being, she gets to say, no, I want people before me that absolutely stand in their presence, absolutely stand in their higher self, absolutely stand in themselves being healed, and they're not projecting or forcing or imprinting or spying into or monitoring spirited into, and all the crap that's been done along so many different timelines, that we feel violated 24/7, some of us, just for people to have their in on your energy field or their in on your sexuality field. And so it's important that we practice intimacy by first standing in detachment and neutrality so that you can discern and have that moment of space and time for your higher self to say, what is my part in this transaction? Is it a healthy experience? Because you want to be a master at your life force, your sexual life force, your intimate life force. And then again, not to be afraid or fearful that everybody's out to take it. It's just their level of consciousness. We have to understand it's just the level of consciousness. Most people are not entrained at a higher vibrational consciousness of their intimacy, of their sexual life force with spirit, of their life force and who they are as a creative being. And those that know how to manipulate and harvest, and those that know how to put root work on you and dump and, all of those things that have been done, they're all abuses. Those that know how to do it can throw your chakras off within one meeting. So it's very important that you can detach and put a shield on yourself and then discern what levels of energy are going on within the co-creation. And if it is an absolutely neutrally detached, where they're just standing before you, not taking unless you're giving it, then you know that that's a safe experience that you've been ordained within to continue to go forward. Because a man at a higher vibrational level that is healed in their divine feminine masculine energies, they won't play those taking, forcing, peering into your sacral, roots, bondage. They won't do any of that crap. They won't want to attach to you. They've absolutely had utter respect for themselves, and they would never ever treat. This is the difference between a 5D man and a 3D. The 5D man would bow and treat you as the sacred being that you are and never take from you unless you offered it freely. In that co-creative experience to say, let's co-create at an intimate level, mentally, intellectually, physically, emotionally. You get to state the ground rules on those co-creations and interactions. So that's why I suggest surrendering to your higher self and your teams and saying, can you please pull in a higher vibrational being that I can have these navigations and explorations with, to allow your confidence to be more substantiated in this realm as we're downloading and we're creating new cities of light. Of what does divine feminine look like now, and what are the new role models for divine feminine? How can we allow divine feminine in the younger generations to be higher aware of who we are and be okay being intimate in all of our explorations, in all of our examinations and our experiences, being an evolving spirit, because we're evolving every day. We're letting go of those old traditions and those old ways. I thought, wow, I didn't even put up with that. It's so icky, right? You allowed yourself to be treated in so many low vibrational ways. And now we have to wake up to accept it and allow it and then acknowledge it into something new. And that is the Ascension pathwork that I teach. And so it's really important to understand and to know that, I don't know where my other piece of paper went. Other piece of paper. Oh, here it is. I wrote some things here. So it's important to know that your sacral energy and your working with your intimacy and training higher vibrational intentions with intimacy as source. And obviously know that as we're moving in new ascension cycles into 5D portals and gateways, we are going to create cities of light. That means that we're going to pull all of those things up where we were not holding ourselves in intimate vulnerability. We weren't holding ourselves in intimate truth. And then you have to ask yourself, are these people willing for me to be continuing, giving my life force to, if I'm not being nourished in any way? And Spirit was showing me that in any of the relationships that I've had, there was only very few, and those of you that are my clients, that give back equally in those intimate experiences. Because in our classes and in our co-creations, we're always open intimately, and we don't ever judge each other, and we're always safe with each other in our conversations. We're always safe with each other in our expressions. So there is that safety we always have with each other. That's why Scotty and all of my beautiful clients, you've been here from day one, because we have that safety with each other. We can say things and we can be vulnerable with each other, and that is the safety of the tribe. So you have to ask yourself and start setting new standards for your everyday life and showing others, because you are way showers, you are the leaders of the pack. So you're going to have to start having open communications about what does intimacy on a 5D level look like, and then again have them at the various levels with your children, because intimacy with your children is different than intimacy with your partner or a higher soulmate. It's intimacy with yourself and source when it's just you and source and your teams. I have such great intimacy with my teams. I talk with my teams 24/7 because I'm always alone, right? I live a hermit life. And they're constantly assisting me in being intimate with me in spirit. and why they're expressing now, it's going to be important for me to be with more people, because I get to teach so much and I get to put so many beautiful codes into the collective and help others along the way, where everything has been held back in such staunch separation and very low vibrational mentality for 4,000 years, as being kind of our history of writing. Of course, we go back hundreds of thousands of years, but most of our writings of humanity and our social experience and our spiritual experience has been only 4,000 years. We do go back 100,000 years, if not more, and that will be shown in many of the ancient cities that will be coming unfolding. And we do have all of our lineages that are linked to that. So again, as we said, we're all bringing futures, and we are all bringing the ancients to a new level of what does 5D look like for us as being intimate beings with Source. And that intimate being with Source is how we manifest. When you're intimately locked in with Source, and it's just that we're so locked in, that's how you manifest. And in 5D, it will be instantaneous. Because so we want you to write on the piece of paper. We want you to do the infinity, and then the negative and neutral, and then the positive. We want you to write on the bottom of the piece of paper, what is intimacy? And then the 3 E's equals the 4th E, which is evolution. And what does that look like to you physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, sexually? And that should be your spiral. That's your spiral, is your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual, because you're constantly evolving in the beehive of you, right? And how you alchemize, which is the infinity, you alchemize through the infinity, right? You either pull up a wounding, which is the negative, you sit in your neutral space and say, well, I can create from this, I can be intimate with this experience, I'm okay with this, it's not fearful, I can stand before it. And then again, if it's something where it is a sexual or intimate, where you're looking to have a relationship with somebody at an intimate sexual experience, stand before them detached. And then you can discern, is there any pushing, forcing, or taking without you even asking? And that is very important, because your sexual fields have to be left alone in sacredness and in honor before somebody even takes an ounce from you. And most of us, it has been quite the opposite. It's been nothing but abuse and raping and harvesting. And so it is going to be a new higher entrainment that we want our children to seek. We want our children to be these higher vibrational beings of utter intimacy within themselves and Source Creator and their creational experience and their creational reality, because that intimacy again opens up that sacral chakra. And that sacral chakra is what? It's everything creativity. It's how we manifest. We get to feel safe in our sexual bodies because we understand we can clear and cleanse, and we can protect our sexual centers, we can protect our fields, we can protect our chakras. We're not going to give it away for free. We're not going to abuse it. We're not going to be negative in our wounds about it and have power struggles over our sexual life force. We've done all that healing. So this is where it gets really exciting, because now humanity is waking up to a 5D level of intimacy, and that intimacy opens up that portal in the sacral chakra, which we're going to be offered more Metatronic light code. Because we're not playing games with our life force anymore. We've stated very clearly, I'm not playing games. I will not engage. I will not be a part of anything lower vibrational and 3D. There's no more karmic energies. There's no more karmic games. There's no more playing for my energy life force. There's no more harvesting. All of those games have been closed off. So you've shown your universe, okay, well, we're ready for a new sexual intimate partner on many levels, because you're no longer wasting your creative energy. You're no longer wasting your life force on lower vibrational beings that just want to play. They want to keep you distracted. They want to keep you low vibrational, which is very important, because a lot of the damages and a lot of the distortions and a lot of the harvesting has been done. Most of it has been done through the sacral chakra. When those people and teach your children how to protect their chakras at night and to seal their aura and to seal their chakras at night time before they go to sleep. It's a simple sealing prayer where they reclaim their light, they reclaim their energy, and they have a seal of protection so that when they're in bed at night, they're not being attacked by beings that harvest out of their sacral. And there's beings that do that. Unfortunately, there's my ex and his sex coven. That's what they did. They played games of harvesting and cloaking from very innocent experiences and very innocent people, and they play with people that know how to manipulate energy, have been taught how to manipulate energy, very warped dark occult witches and dark occult warlocks. They know how to do things like that. So it's important that you teach your children how to seal their auras and their chakras every night before they go to bed. And so in that, you get to take greater care of your body because you've shown and you've putting out those pulsations to the universe. No, I've practiced in not to be taken advantage of. I've cut all those relationships off. I've severed all the ties. Everybody's been told physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the vows are broken, all the promises are broken, no more, no more, no more. Now you've realigned with a higher vibrational soulmate that's helping you teach and expand and explore that contraction and expansion, which is what you need. You cannot grow without the contraction and expansion. That's ascension. So when you wrote on your paper what we just told you to write, now we want you to explore, what does intimacy mean for you on those experiences of sexuality? How can you be intimately sexual with the partner that you're with? And then you can have those open conversations. Can we explore ourselves a little bit differently so that we can contract and expand in higher vibrational ways? We want to put higher vibrational imprints and expectations of each other as souls. We're infinite souls of source. So those conversations of contraction, expansion, and if your soulmate is a true soulmate, they'll be so excited to have these conversations with you. And then you have to sit down and have the conversations equally of those that don't want to be on that ride with you, because they just want to keep playing in their player ways, or they want to keep playing in low vibrational ways. They don't want to connect with those types of experiences. So that's where you within yourself can go and say, no, I've made those decisions on my own, and that's why Source is moving those people out. Source will usually move the people out before you even have that conversation, but Spirit wants to see you having those conversations because it's your reality. Right? You're the one that's creating your reality. Who are you and what do you want? Again, who are you? What do you exist in? What's going on within you? Now that you have a higher understanding of intimacy, you don't need certain beings and certain energies and certain so-called family around when all they do is harm and attack and harvest off of you. Those aren't family. Those are just beings that choose not to heal and not to do their own work. It's easier to take from you because you've always given. But now that you know how to honor and be in commandmentship of your multivibrational fields, of your multivibrational chakras and your life force, you're not going to give your energy away for free. And that's why those that I've released and let go, they're all moving into karma because they don't have my energy to cloak. They don't have my energy to manifest from. They don't have my energy to hide behind. They don't have my energy to do anything with. So now the only thing that they're doing is self-imploding from their own decades of dark-ass karma and dark-ass projections and black magic and attacking and abusing of me, because the karma is coming back. As I said earlier in my last video, the ancestors and the guides have stepped back and they're not protecting those that they had been protecting because they were hoping that they would get on the path of self-healing. They hoping they would get on the path of self-love and they would do and make higher choices, but they chose not to. So the spirit guides will now step back and say, we're not going to support you or heal you. We're not going to protect you in these energetic attacks that you've been doing so egregiously and so obsessively to take down somebody that was sent here, as you were told 8 million times, for the higher and greater good of all creation. So nobody is, whether it's a military person doing human experimenting, MK Ultra, they were previously, protected by their teams and guides because they were waiting for them to wake up and choose a higher vibrational will of way. Nobody on this planet can say, when you sit it down on a table and you look at it at a table and you draw it out, whether you see it on a screen, whether you see it on a blackboard or a whiteboard, nobody can say with a full honesty, those that are in MK Ultra human testing and the degradation that has been done, nobody can say that this has been a part of our evolution. There's nowhere in any standard of divine unfolding and divine cascading unfolding of God's divine plan was MK Ultra and human testing of such degradation and Epstein-like agendas. Those were just the games of the elite and their Hunger Games, and to see how much destruction can be done to the ultra humans, to the empathic and sensitive humans, and how much can they play with us. Nowhere in that says how highly evolved are we. If you are highly evolved, it is always on the highest and best in the positive aspects. Always. God's divine plan for humanity is always on the positive side of the infinity. Always. The negative side is what we are healing from all of our past deeds and beliefs. Always. So this is how you know, and those of you that will be speaking with governments and systems to rewrite systems, anything that you put on the table, if it is not in the highest and divine will of honor and respect for all life, right use of free will and non-interference and the law of balance, if it is not hitting any of those points, you absolutely know it doesn't matter what that other person might say on how they came up with that plan or project. There is no way in hell that that would have been a divine plan from God. There just isn't. And those of us that are trained and ordained with Mother, Father, God, and we are ranked in the heavens, we absolutely know anybody standing before us. It's nothing but false. They're not ranked. They're bringing their agendas into distinction. They want to play power and they want to play God over all. Because God's divine plan would never ever put humans in experimenting experiences. That's a human thing. Those are power over others, those are wounds, those are imbalances. And anybody that is with me in a meeting where we're talking about any sort of agenda, I can tell you exactly where the wounds are from how that one agenda got started and where the wound was. So if that's the case, why would you want agendas of wounding to go back into the collective and then test them on it and then experiment on them and then hire secret societies to go and do more targeting and more testing to rip that human soul apart? When these experiences do come out into the open, everybody will have moments and a few days of silence to truly take in the damages that have done to God's divine spirit. And in that earlier experience where I told you it was just me and God and there was nothing before me, that's the cup that God fills me up with. Where yeah, I survived, all I need is you. So this whole experience has taught me I don't need anything outside of me. Those people that called themselves family were nothing but abusers and users and takers and rapers and harvesters. They weren't family. They kept truth for their own benefit and selfish gain. They kept money that wasn't theirs illegally through selfish gain and their own will and their own benefit. It had nothing to do with giving an ounce to me. They didn't care. Obviously, they tried to kill me 500 times. You know, weeding and siphoning and sucking on my sacral as if it was a gas pump. So that's very important that we get to understand, like, wow, I want an intimate partner that just stands before me with absolutely zero taking and siphoning and, you know, not even the intention, right? You know, not even the intention. You can feel those unhealed 3D men experiences where they look at you and they just feel like they want to have sex with you because you do have a balanced aura. Your aura's balance is powerful. Divine feminine balanced auras are powerful and it packs a punch. But you also have to stand in your respect for yourself. Yeah, it took me a long time to be this healed. So get your greedy energy body away from me. And then you set the shield of protection around you because nobody has the right to press their ick and their unhealedness on your energy. This is why, again, surrender to your teams and your guides if you're not finding that equal sacred experience, sexual experience in the 3D, because again, the men are just starting their healing and their understanding about who they are. They have a lot of work to do. You can ask for those higher vibrational beings from your teams and your guides because they know exactly what you've been through. That higher vibrational being that's going to be able to have those conversations and those intimacies that are going to serve you and really help you expand and contract. Because you have to ask for it, right? Because you are the intimate aspect of source. Then you deserve to come forward in higher vibrational energies. So here's the channel that I wrote. So really play with that this week, my friends, my dear tribe. Play with the returning to sacred sexuality. I want you to play with what that means to you physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, you know, and of course the higher vibrational version of pleasuring. And what does that mean? And we talked about earlier that when we reach into higher 5D, the orgasms that we will have and the masturbation and the ejaculation, all the things that we thought that we were and we were going to do, we will not really do anymore because, as I said earlier, the spiritual orgasms are going to be so much better. So as you're becoming more harmonized as spirit, the physical aspects of what we used to do and how we were entrained to receive our life force and move our life force and experience our life force and have pleasure out of our life force, the physical aspects will drop more and more the more harmonized as source that we become. Because again, your orgasms can be intellectual, right? So have it very expansive, right? We want you to get a higher entrainment of intimacy. And source spirit, we have to, as a 5D being of cosmic consciousness, we have to allow ourselves those explorations. And you have to find those that are willing to be contractive and expansive with you without judgment and without that power game going back and forth. And state that and call it out. If you have those experiences in your life where there's power games going on, you have to state it. You have to state that there's energy power games going on here. This is not where I'm at. And you have to put everything on the table. And they have to do the work. They have to do the work. You can't continue to play, you know, back in the olden days, you know, there was things that were said and now I look back on it, it's so silly and it's so stupid. Oh, you're not going to get sex for a week because you ticked her off. We use and abuse life force and our sexual bodies like that as punishment or as treats or gifts. You know, so catch yourself when you're saying things like that. It puts you in a very low vibrational state of how you use your life force, how you use your sexual body, how you've used to use it, how your parents used to use it, and how the imprints that are in our collective, it's very low vibrational. And we have to see ourselves in higher sacred sexuality. And Divine Feminine will be the front runners of imprinting higher vibrational wisdoms and teachings and knowings. It's ready, we're timed, it's timely, it's a creative life force wave that will help us in every way. As I said earlier, this and what I'm talking about is directly related to everything in our creative collective that will be shifting and changing. That's how powerful this is. And we've misunderstood it and misrepresented it. And that's why a lot of these wisdoms and teachings they've kept from us, because it kept us in lower vibrational, don't create anything, be numb and dumb. That's the devil, right? The devil wants to keep us as least connected with spirit as possible. So I'm helping you reclaim your spiritual energy, reclaim your life force energy, understand how to work with your multi-vibrational bodies and fields so that you can reclaim your energy bodies and your chakras, and teach your children. Teach your children how to reclaim their energy bodies and seal their auras and chakras at night. So comprehending yourself as a sacred multidimensional process is, I love this, write this down, comprehending yourself as sacred in a multidimensional process is quantum weaving. Hopefully that's working. In the return of self to self and loving yourself to self, the sewing and the weaving and creating tapestry from releasing old dimensional versions of you, how you behaved, who you were, and what you existed within. Now you are creating new, stepping into new skins. Like many of your video games have, such things called skins that allow you to simply play in different atmospheres or environments, explore new things, move into new arenas with different aspects of gifts and skills. They have them in video games, and your kids can probably confirm that. The different skins that you wear give you different powers. They give you different exploration journeys. And so we can choose that at any level because we're source creator. We can allow ourselves different arenas and new challenges and new connections for our allowing of the contraction and expansion. As I said earlier, you call in those higher vibrational soulmates. If you can. Like, do that, because those allow you that highest vibrational, wow, I didn't explore that before. Let's do that. Life and your new dimensional reality can be this beautiful and be this similitude to the infinite exploration that is always the creator. Source offers you always an infinite exploration potential that you are able to harmonize, releasing old versions, creating new aspects of frequencies to harmonize, sew, and weave. Remember, letting go of what doesn't work. Sit in a detached experience, and then you can choose what you're going to sow. How are you going to harmonize? How are you going to alchemize what is before you, right? There's going to be stuff you're letting go. You have to alchemize and release and let go and heal it, and alchemize in new self-loving, self-accepting energies, forgiveness energies. That's how you alchemize. And then there's going to be those that want to intimately co-create with you and sexually co-create with you. You're understanding the importance of life force. You're understanding the importance of your source life force and how it absolutely affects in every way, 100%, make no mistake about it. And those that have abused their life force are those that have absolutely very little or no creative energy or no creative inspiration within themselves because it has been abused. So again, these experiences, explorations, and understandings of how you're seeing your social reality unfold, you can help teach others. This is where I said earlier, some of you on the line will be starting classes where you can actually talk with those and maybe explore these things in different ways, in higher vibrational ways. You know, getting together chat groups of higher vibrational entrainment where you're creating conversations that are moving in higher intellect of the grids that have nothing to do with abuse of life force, nothing to do with power games back and forth and all of the things that have occurred. We've all felt them and we all have to transmute them. The abuse of the divine feminine life force has been this is where we see in the entertainment field, for a woman to be seen and heard, she has to dress in a bikini, as I gave you that understanding. Go look at any divine feminine that is signed up with any label, record label, music label. They do their promotional skits, and most of their promotional skits, they're wearing little to none clothing. And why is that? That is an entrained imprint of the collective's expectation of how divine feminine are seen and known and expected to be seen. For them to express a gift, a talent of theirs that is divine. So how is that a representation of who you truly are as a soul? How can we include higher representation of heavenly representation and higher vibrational role models that say, well, I'm a higher vibrational role model and I don't have to take my clothes off. I can wear beautiful clothes in whatever way I want. I get to choose what clothes I wear. And if that divine feminine chooses to wear a bikini, she chooses to wear a bikini, but it is not put in a contract. It is not expected. How is that okay? The expectation is you wear a bikini your first 5 shoots? We're going to promote you in a bikini? What does that say about my voice? You're selling my skin, you're selling my body. She's selling her sexual life force. We have to take that into consideration. When you put yourself out there in a naked way, you're selling your sexual life force. So you have to understand the boundaries that you need to set. And this is why I've said many of my shows that nobody has the right to jack off to my image. And when you do, then you'll get karma. Because you're not invited into my life force. I have the right to present myself as a beautiful, divine, feminine, healed, balanced goddess. And I can explore my life force however I choose because it's my life force. I haven't invited anybody in on it. I express it freely to my clients and I express it freely in my speech and my knowing and my intelligence. But other than that, nobody has a right to use my image, my pictures, my photos, my energy in any other way. They have never been given permission. And when you state that, the systems of light, your ancestors and your guides will bring karma to those that abuse it. Because you have the right to be treated with respect and honor as a sacred sexual being. Nobody has the right to abuse your life force ever on any level in any way. That means those that come in at the last minute, experiences and they want to bind themselves to you and root work themselves to you, you get to state with clarity. You don't have any right to use their sexual life force in any way. So you get to state those things with clarity and honor and stand in your power of, I'm God. That's what God wants from you. God wants you to stand in your commandmentship of you. Say, no, I've earned my healing. You're not touching my energy with your dirty energy. You don't know who you are. You don't have a right to even, think of me while you're jacking off. You don't have the right. So control yourself, go within and do your healing because my energy is just for me. You don't get to use it or abuse it and you will get karma. So you have the right to state that. That is your energetic rule for your life force, and every divine feminine, every divine masculine has the right to state it, and so too it shall be. You are the godliness of your life force. That's how you manifest. You manifest out of all that you are as godly, physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, and sexually, creatively. Nobody has the right to take it from you, and why the underground black web will be pulled. The underground black web will be something of our history. It is in every aspect of abuse to our life force as source creator. It is the manifestation of all that has been abuse to who we are as source. So the black web is there because of our abuses of who we are as source creator, because we didn't know who we are physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, or sexually. We've abused it on every level. The black web is that manifestation. The black web is the corruption of our soul. And it will be pulled because we're standing in our power now. We're saying, no, you're not going to use my image. There was an experience I had validation today of anybody that had used my pictures or images without my knowledge, without my permission. They didn't have any right to. I've never taken pictures of myself naked. I've never given my pictures of myself naked to anybody. I wouldn't. And none of that would have been put on the underground because I'd never done that. Never taken naked pictures of myself because I've been celibate for 15 years, devoting myself to who I am as spirit. So of course it goes in complete it goes in complete opposite of what I've done. But those people that have said that there's images and pictures of me and exploiting me on the black web, they've been their manifestations and Photoshop lies and falsities, because it's not me. I haven't taken any such pictures. And if it was done illegally. In my private home, if there was a camera put in my bathroom or my bedroom, then it was done illegally because I didn't take any of those pictures. I wouldn't have. I don't have any naked pictures of myself. I never did and I never will. So in that, I stated to Spirit and Source, which I said a while ago as part of my healing and clearing of the very abusive timelines of my life force and my lineage, and who Divine Feminine are as a whole, and clearing the underground for the children. The children have every right to stand in their life force and say, in this moment, and you can do this as an affirmation for yourself, in this moment right now as an affirmation of the clarity and the reclaiming of my power and my life force, none anywhere have any right to post any pictures, images, photos, or falseness of me in any way, video content in any way, to any level of exploitation that you have not given permission to, period. None have a right. And in that stating through creation and you standing in that power of your alchemy of mother, father, source, and you reclaiming your power, those underground things will get pulled. There will be somehow investigators led to have it pulled. There'll be investigators that will be led to catch those people that have done it illegally, because why they go to the black web is because they do it illegally and they get paid for it. They get paid to sell your information to the black web. They get paid to sell your banking information. They get paid to sell whatever is you. That's how these sleazy people make money. They sell any part of you to make money from it, whether it's underground hate groups that attack you. How many bids can they get to sacrifice you? How much money can they get to exploit your suffering? How much money can they get to post videos of, there's the horrible things that are done. It's just utter abuse to Source Creator. It's utter abuse to humanity. And this is the respect we have for life on our planet. The things that are on the black web, it's extinction. The black web in its continuance is extinction. You will not grow and evolve. Evolution is everything. You will not grow and evolve in that mess. It is the selling of everything that is horrible. And people make money off of being, ugh. That's their consciousness, that's where they're at, but it's blatantly obvious for every leader of every country, why are the monies not going top priority to healing? Because in the reality of what is being shown, there has been so much misinformation, misguidance, misunderstanding, defame, blasphemy to everything that has been divine feminine, to everything that has been understanding life force at a higher vibrational level, and who we are as multidimensional, multivibrational beings, and how we have abused it. Who are we in relationship to the intimacy of Source? Who are we as all that is creation as Source, and what's going on within us as Source? How has that been abused and misguided and misrepresented on every level? It's so countless. We can't even count the abuses. So it was really important that I went through what I went through. It wasn't fun. I would never do it again. And I hope that nobody ever goes through what I went through. But it brought forward, most of human issues that need to be looked at and healed. So I accept that. And I get to talk to you all about them so that you can think and ponder and wonder and then, claim your power within it and start writing new. There is always cascading light that tantalizes new effects of a new higher vibrational reality. Remember, contraction, expansion. There is always higher vibrational, multidimensional codes of the higher aspects. Again, call on those higher aspects, for you to have those expansive co-creation conversations. And again, don't ever feel like you can't create a meetup group for higher vibration. State that in your intentions. I want a higher vibrational meetup group where we can talk about healing of, sexuality. How can we start creating higher vibrational conversations, intelligent wisdoms, intelligence teachings, so that the children and all people in community can be taught how to look after their life force and not be taken advantage of, and have all people, divine masculine in their healing, start to reclaim and not have those primordial forcing energies of sexual life force, because that's what they've been entrained. Unfortunate, but that's what they've been entrained, right? It's been a very low consciousness. And again, we're into a new octave of understanding of light and love, what and how you choose to be within a new higher light body. That's what I was telling you, the Metatronic light codes. There will be higher entrainment, thought, word, and deed that will be needed in your contraction and expansion of your new environments. You are the shifting of everything in your environment. So they were saying that as we're having these higher vibrational classes and content about what is intimacy, how can we have intimacy with Source, how can you have those intimate conversations with higher vibrational beings, you're contracting and expanding. What that is doing is shifting everything in matter form outside of you. Because they were showing me as I was writing this channel, it was like, wow, things outside of me are shifting, because these are all new codes, all new energy, all new excitement, all new, wow, I get to use my life force in higher vibrational ways and in ways. Why? Because I've done so much healing in the lower chakras. So much healing that had to be done. Like, no, you can't use my energy. No, you can't, take my life force. No, you're not going to focus on my life force. No, you can't do that. No, my energy is sacred. I fucking earned it. Get your fucking eyes off my fucking sacral. You've earned your sacred space. You've earned that space to say, no, I'm sacred, and you're going to pay for my time. in the special healings and the special energy that people get to co-create with you. Even if they stand before you, they're exchanging that energy with you. So you have to be aware of that. And then you have to set boundaries and rules of engagement for those that are not consciously awake or aware, that use and abuse and play games. You have to set those boundaries. Or not, it's up to you. It's always life force. It's always your karmic story. You're going to keep playing those karmic patterns and cycles until you put a stop to abusive karmic patterns. Abusive karmic patterns are everything narcissistic, sociopathic, where they're blaming and defaming and projecting and deflecting, no accountability. Anybody that is in no accountability is not taking ownership of who they are and what they're behaving and acting within, and they're not aware of their energy. If they're not taking accountability, they are not self-aware. A self-aware person takes accountability, and they will be okay when you call them out. Somebody that reacts and gets on the defense and will not talk it out with you is somebody that is not self-aware. Somebody that is willing to grow and be a soulmate with you, they are willing to put it on the table and talk it out, and they are willing to do the work. They have to do the work. And then there are those, make those experiences well known for you and set the boundaries. Only with you and your teams you're needed. You don't need to give anybody privy to your boundaries and rules, unless you're in a communication with them. But you can state with certainty that there are certain beings that just consciously are not at your level. And you do have to say, these people are not at my consciousness level. Please release them from my energy field. Because all they do is take. If they're not consciously aware, they will just simply take. That's where there has to be a shifting out, and this is where God is asking everybody to step up and stand up and say, how am I being taken from? Rework your field and put the seals and the protections on. Make sure that you're setting boundaries in yourself. How much are you going to give, and to whom, and to how? That's where you have to say, no, there's just way too much taking here. You've given me nothing for 15 years. So this is a non-issue. Get out. It's nothing but raping and harvesting. You have to set those boundaries, and you have to tell them point blank, and you can even get protection orders and restraining orders. You have to protect your fields and your energies at all costs, because there are those people that are very good at harvesting and swapping soul and binding and root work and all the crap that they do, because that's all they know. They just want to steal. They don't want to do the work. Those boundaries and say, every time I'm with you, it's nothing but, harvesting and taking and making my life yours. No, my life is my life. Go get your own life. Do your work. Do the fucking work. And if they're all defensive and rejected and projecting, deflecting on you and never answering your questions and never being accountable, they're not doing the work. They're not consciously aware. Anybody that deflects is not consciously aware. They're not awake. They don't want to do the work. And that's what's found most often than not in narcissism and sociopathy. They do not see themselves as the problem. They do not see themselves as creating the chaos and the drama and the trauma. Deflection is a key code of narcissism. And then there's God complex narcissism, there's grandiose narcissism, there are various levels of narcissism. And then there's some narcissists that are all of it all together because they have entity attachment. And they're not accountable for anything. So you have to hold them accountable and say, we're no longer going to be any aspects of anything. You cannot come in my field. They're not consciously aware to get anything that you're saying. They're just not awake. And that's okay. No judgment. Let them go on their way as you go on yours. But you have to absolutely state your boundaries. No, we're not going to be friends. We're not going to be partners. We're not going to be anything. I'm not going to be your private handholder. I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not going to be your baby mama that tells you good boy. Divine masculines have to step up. Okay, thank you, Scotty, for your numbers. And thank you for your compliments to its equal intention and motive. The environment that you sit within is shifting around your vibration. You call in those that always want to be in equal co-creation with you of expansion and contraction. You get to reestablish, this is important. So this is what awoke me today too. You get to reestablish for 5D. We get to each reestablish how we want to be loved. So write this down. How do I want to be loved? And do your journaling over the next couple of days. How do I want to be loved? How do I want to be valued? How do I want to be shown that I'm respected? By somebody not harvesting and siphoning from you in every interaction. That's a key, right? And if you're with those people, you need to start moving away. The more intimate, how do you want to be more intimate with who you are on all the various levels that we've just marked out? So put that on your paper as well. And various and perhaps the unnoticed parts of yourself. That's important. That's what we want to explore this week. What are the unnoticed parts of myself? And how can I get intimate with those unnoticed parts? This is usually held within all of your chakras. So you can go chakra by chakra and just sit with it and be present with it every day. And it will open greater creativity in your sacral chakra. Because usually when we are ostracized or judged, our chakra, especially the second chakra, shuts down, and our heart chakra. So this is where the healing and the reintegration and the reloving and the recompassion and the forgiveness have to occur in the chakras. We don't know we do it at 2 and 3 and 4 years old, but we want to express ourselves creatively and we're shut down. Those are the ostracizations that affect us in those chakras. We want to get to those unnoticed parts of ourselves. And we want to be more intimate with Source, because that's Source. Source is there. That was our most pure and vibrant aspect of Source. And it got shut down at a very early age for reasons of attacking, for reasons of not understanding, for reasons of being a hybrid and nobody understood you were a hybrid, being whatever vibration you were, playing in the garden with fairies. It doesn't matter what those unnoticed parts are, but they will come forward. And we want you to ask those parts to come forward. You can allow others access to all of these parts and share it with you without fear. That's where we're moving to. In 5D, have that as in your intention. I want to share all aspects of myself without fear. And that should be your intention as you go to bed at night. My 5D partner, my soulmate that is linked with me along my pillar of light and all my chakras, the one that God ordains with me, that knows everything that I've been through and will serve me and nourish me in all ways. It will be to be intimate and vulnerable without fear, so that all of my parts and unnoticed parts can be shared. And so that's something I'm going to have lots of fun talking with my higher soulmate tonight. You know, what are some unknown parts about you that we can share with each other? When you're feeling the unnoticed, so you can put a dash and then unnoticed parts of yourself, and then put dash, what are the reservations you have? So those are feelings and those are emotions, reservations, and intimacy and vulnerability. What are the reservations you have about sharing yourself? And get to the core of that. Well, you won't be accepted? Well, that's okay, but you accept you. All you need is God. Right? As God showed me this morning, you don't have to have anything or anybody. You will be lifted as king and queen, just as your own with God. So be okay with that. And you're teaching all others to be okay with that as well, because there's been so much outer focus that's led us astray. God is in the outer, but what our intimacy and our enmeshment and our weaving and our threading is the Mother Father within us. It's saying, yeah, there's unnoticed parts there because they were shut down so early. I want to get to know that. I want to excavate that. I want to expand and contract within that. So what reservations do you have about allowing someone to be knowing and sharing in those aspects of you? Can you feel fully sovereign? Remember, claiming who you are is sovereignty. That's what sovereignty means. It means it doesn't matter what's going on outside of you. You stand within your power in full sovereignty. I claim my light. I claim my honor. I claim my love. I claim my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. No such being owns me. That's sovereignty. Can you be in your full sovereignty and choosing without restriction, obligation, as we said earlier, those that stand before you that are not awakened, that are not healed, it's still okay, don't judge them. But when you're standing in your sovereignty, sometimes there is before you games of restriction, games of obligation. Again, if you give to me, I'll give to you, right? It's not unconditional. Games of mental and emotional and sexual energy, like, no, you can't have sex tonight, you've been a bad boy, all those kind of things. It's just a little vibrational. Then there's games of domination, the veiling of spell work and the veiling of lineage, dogmatic, social imprints. All of those things play a part in every single human's experience that has to be brought forward, placed on the table, and sorted out. What veiling of lineage imprints did you have? There's many family lineages that are coming forward with secrets of incest. Put that on the table. It has to be sorted out. That incest is a direct experience that is equal to your reservation and your exploration of who you are. right? If you are touched and created an unsafe environment for you to be fully who you are, and it totally destroyed your safety of your sexuality, that has to be discussed. And those that are wounded will stand before you with those imprints within them, and those that are healers and empaths and psychics like myself, we get to see that interfacing and help them heal. But there are those that play those games, and why they play those games is because there's still traumas in their sexual chakras that they have not approached. And it does come from many lineages of incest, where they believed that incest was okay. It's not okay. Incest is not okay, and if you're hiding behind that as part of your family lineage, then you need to do a lot of healing for your lineage, because it's not okay. It's damaging to the spirit and the soul. And it absolutely takes away the safety of that person's sexuality and who they are as a sexual being. Incest is not okay. And there are many, many, many families, polygamy families. It goes on in church, it goes on everywhere. It's blanketed everywhere. Incest is not okay. It's damaging to the multivibrational being that that person is, and it has to be healed. It is not a higher evolved experience. So again, anything that you place before you, ask yourself, is this a higher evolved divine plan experience? And it will mostly fall, because this is just where the awakening is at, it will mostly fall on the negative side of the infinity, because it is a wound or a trauma that is coming forward that has been human made through the wounding, through misguidance, through the lower box doors of dogma and church and state beliefs, imprints, social beliefs, educational beliefs. It's all very low vibrational. So we now get to come with a higher vibrational imprint on every vibrational level: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual. Sacred sexuality is absolutely healing everything that has been incest, everything that has been rape, everything that has been harvesting life force. So we have to look at, is this a higher vibrational way of behaving? And then you answer yourself, and then whatever triggers come forward will be what you need to heal for your lineage and for your Akash. It will be faced. We cannot move into 5D without facing these issues. What and how you choose to be in a higher light body, the higher entrainment of thought, word, and deed is up to you. So you get to train, as we talked to you earlier. What does intimacy mean for you? How can you entrain higher vibrational thought, word, and deed? The environment will shift around you because it is your vibration that states it so. Remember, as I said to earlier as that example, when I stated that nobody is allowed to use my image, my energy, or my life force in any direction in any way without permission or validation from me myself, then those black energies from the black web came up, and they will be shut down. Because I've stated it. They're abusing and exploiting my energy. They were never given permission. And those that have done so and used so and got paid, they will also be cursed. Because they had no right to make money off my image when I've sat in nothing, in poverty and homelessness. It's the abhorrent exploitation of God. It's all godly. And especially with my vibration and the name and the energy that my carries, they were all so happy to start exploiting me in every disgusting way they could. And now they're seeing that it was all cursed, just as we said it would. What you're gonna do, draw it out. Is this gonna serve you? No, it's all gonna be cursed. What are you sitting in now? Keep coming and play with me and see what happens. You get to reestablish, so this is again important, I'm going to read it over again. You get to reestablish how you want to be loved, how you want to be valued, how you want to be respected. Again, you're not using my fucking energy. You're not going to put me on the fucking black web. You're not going to put pictures of me anywhere because it's not me. You photoshopped it. Again, karma, 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 karma. So you get to reestablish in your own words, in your own terms, in your own intention, direction, and focus. How do you want to be loved? Because that intention, that focus, that direction of your life force energy is going to call in that equal, beautiful soulmate, right? How do you want to be loved? Physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually. Because remember, I want to remind you, when we get to the higher realms, many of your orgasms will be spiritual, and they're way better than physical. Because everything is spiritual. The physical body is a very small part of our experience. It's very tangible, and we must work through it and feel very Venusian with it, right? The Venusian is about accepting and honoring and loving our physical aspects of it. But there's so much that we've just tapping into. So we want you to explore the contraction and expansion. Include that in what allows you to be greater love and greater intimacy with love, right? And how can you allow others to access and share it freely without feeling like there's fear, restrictions, or obligations or games being played? So if you're in a relationship that you've been in with for a very long time, you need to ask these questions and be okay having these mature conversations. Where is this going? Can we play less games? Can we move into a higher sexuality with each other? Can we learn about our chakras a little bit more? Can we heal and be vulnerable with each other? Can we have these conversations? Can we expand and grow? And if they don't want to, and if they laugh, and if they hurt you, or if they make you feel small, then you need to pack their suitcase and put their suitcase at the door. Because it ain't gonna get better. Well, it might get better, but chances are it won't. Sorry for the bad news. Too funny. Somebody that stayed way too long. Get out! Too funny. They come home and the house is empty. No, I want a partner that's actually going to talk about these things. You have 3 chances. Just don't tell them they have 3 chances. Just ask them the question. Say, give them 3 chances to say what they're going to say. By the 3rd, if they're still giving you excuses and they're still giving you deflective answers by the 3rd response, you know that they're not going to go through with you. Then you have the suitcase at the door by the next morning. Say, no, I'm not wasting any more of my time. Bye. Bye. See, in your healing, you learn really quickly to say goodbye a lot faster. No, goodbye. No, goodbye. No, goodbye. But we've been together for 50,000 years. I don't care. Goodbye. You're not satisfying me in any way. I've got my list and it's no way are you satisfying me. Bye. You have the locks changed when they're at work and their suitcases are outside the door. Okay, goodbye. We've had this conversation 18 billion times. Goodbye. So funny. And respectfully, with your joys of your 3 E's, who are you in your glowing, radical sexual self and the acceptance of your sexual self? 5D sexual self is not 3D sexual self. That's why we want you to do the homework. We want you to think and ponder. What does your intimacy with Source look like? Intellectually, physically, mentally, emotionally. How can you call those higher beings in to help contract and expand what you need so that you can work through any restrictions you have, any reservations, how you've seen people play games with you, if you are in intimate conversations, if you are in an intimate relationship with somebody and you do want to move through Ascension with them, you know, start working those things out because they're important conversations you got to have, right? You've got to have those conversations. Don't. So basically the highest priority and the whole bottom line of my lifetimes in hell. Evolution is everything. Don't sacrifice an ounce of your life and your evolution for anyone or anything that is not holding you in the same regard. Don't ever do anything or give to anybody in ways that they have not given or allowed for you. If you're not being held in the Most High and they're not holding you in the Most High, hit the road. Take yourself out. Move away. In no way is abuse okay. In no way of being the giver all the time is okay. In no way of sexual games and manipulations and harvesting and root work and all of the crap that is done that you don't even know. If you're not manifesting higher evolved experiences, you need to look at the relationships you're directly allowing to take up your life force and your time and your energy. Because there's a lot of fuck shit that goes on and people try and hide it and they deflect and they don't want to answer, or they're in these secret groups and in these secret societies. So many people are in secret societies. Because it's how the elites have been running the world. They've been paying people off in every aspect of their experience, and yet they're not higher evolved on any level. 33rd degree Masons, whatever they call themselves, the names don't matter. It's so ridiculous. Whatever they call themselves has no ranking of who they are as a conscious being. I'm giving you these offerings and use these teachings so that as you're moving through the navigation, exploration, and consciousness of who you are, anybody standing before you, regardless of what they say their rank is, 3D or secret society, it doesn't matter what they say it is, that ranking won't mean anything to the consciousness that you've allowed yourself to shift within. Because what we've just talked about is 5D consciousness experiences and explorations. So if you're doing the work and your vibration is showing you're doing the work, your vibration of all that you are is gonna absolutely send, radical sparks of your standing of who you are as Source. And their ranking doesn't mean anything. It does to them, but it might not to you. So don't allow that's how they play the power game. And that's why they've used secret societies, because they get to do and explore whatever they want in the underground. They get to pay people back and forth to hide their behaviors and to hide their deeds. And they get to pay all of the people in various systems of where they work. And they never get to be accountable for their exploration of being higher consciousness beings. It's not higher consciousness. Just because you say you're 33, you're not higher consciousness. You're hiding behind all your secret things. Well, how is that higher consciousness? That's not intimacy source. You're hiding. You're secret. You're not higher consciousness. You're not ranked. You think you're ranked, but you're not. You play that you're ranked, but you're not. You pay people to do sacrifices on innocent people, and you pay people to do witch, warlock, and spell casting on people, but you're not ranked. You think you're ranked because you're not. In old 3D worlds, you were ranked because people didn't know anything different about secret society abuses, and people didn't know why people were just passing away, and insurances went to the same people all the time, and their insurance policies and their inheritances went to the same people all the time, and they're slowly working into a system where the elite are become more elite, and the people that they want to take out and the people they want to sacrifice all the time get harvested, get their souls taken, get their souls ripped out, and it's just a big elite harvesting bank. It's an elite harvesting bank. And they get to play Hunger Games with whoever they want to play Hunger Games with, except when it came to me. And when it came to me, nobody could take me out, and nobody's going to sacrifice me, and they were told 18 billion times, and I'll tell you 18 billion more. You ain't sacrificing me in any way, anyhow. And the legions are coming down hard on you day by day, 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 by day. Karma's coming. Because Divine Feminine gets to stand in her glory, and I will. Divine Feminine's going to say, you ain't touching my life force. You ain't coming near me. Because you've been doing nothing but abusing it. You've been using me, you've been abusing me, you've been attacking me every day. And you don't get to stand before me, you're not my friend. You're not healed in any way. Go away and get healed. And you might not want to call yourself a 33rd degree nothing, because you ain't ranked in God's books. Anybody that's doing sacrificing, you're not ranked. Anybody that's playing dark occult practices to get and take and to harvest and to rape and to steal and make yourself better and make yourself big, make yourself on stage for 5 minutes of your fame because you're stealing it from somebody else and you're closing down their sacral chakra and you're taking all of their creativity and you think you're this big brazen person doing all the playing behind closed doors with your voodoo and your jars and your mirrors. And you're getting karma times 10 now, aren't you? Aren't you? Because you're playing, that's what you're doing. You're playing with life. But instead of focusing all your time on the playing with others' lives and the focusing on others' creativity and the focusing on where others are at, you could be going in, you could be healing and looking in that mirror yourself and putting things in the jars for yourself and doing your little voodoo dolls on yourself. How about you do that? Because you don't have a right, you never did, you never will, on touching another soul. And y'all came across me for a very special reason, and God led me to you. I was your bait. And God showed me this many, many years ago. And I said, God, I don't know if I'm willing to go there for you. But God said, Joanna, we got you. Do you trust me? I said, I don't know, God. I don't know if I can be the bait against all these wolves. Because these wolves have been here for eons and generations. And these lineages are just not learning the lesson. But we got to be a bit more patient with these beings because they think taking, raping, and stealing is all they know. They're still stuck in their primordial energy because their DNA hasn't been touched by Christ consciousness like you. Can you be the bait for us, Joanna? I said, I don't know if I'm willing to go there, Mother, Father. And the legions came in and said, Joanna, we got you every step. Nobody's going to touch you. And of course, when my brother and my big, beautiful boyfriend, Ashtar, and he laughs every time I say that, but that's who he is to me. He protects my soul. Ain't nothing going to touch me on every step, and I walk freely. Because Divine Feminine is needed on this planet in the highest form ever. And I have the ability to touch up to the 13th dimension of intuitiveness, and I'm going to bring it down to 5D Earth. I'm going to bring it down to 3D and anybody that so chooses to wish to tap in. Because I deserve exactly to be me. And when I was a kid, not understanding why people were treating me the way they were treating me, or why I was thinking and seeing the things I was and hearing the things I was and being the way I was, I'm not going to question anymore. I am who I fucking am. I'm 100% hybrid and I'm going to be it. I'm here for great things and I ain't going to step down. I ain't going to stand down. I'm going to call all your corruption out. Every black web account, I'm calling it out. You're done. The black web will be pulled. You are done. That is my prediction. You are done. Why? Because it's the underbelly of humanity and we want better. We're reclaiming our power. We're reclaiming our sexuality, and it ain't nothing to do with a black ass account that wants to make money off exploiting the innocent. You don't deserve to be here. And I'm giving that to you right now. You're going to wake up and heal, or you will be moved. Why is it that the criminals get to walk so freely and they get to do and be whatever they want? And the double standard when an innocent person stands up and say, you can't take me, you can't rape me, you can't treat me like that, you can't steal from me and leave me homeless. Why is it that this was a double standard and the divine feminine's got to stand 3 million times higher and louder to be heard in one way? And ain't nobody been given to her except one client. And that one client will be blessed 100-fold. Yeah, the price on that went up. And she will be protected 100-fold. Because you're seeing now the importance of your intimacy with Source. I'm intimate with Source every day and nobody's going to take that away from me. Nobody knows my initiations. Nobody knows my work. Nobody knows what I've done. Nobody knows where I come from. Nobody knows who I walk with. Nobody knows what I do. Nobody knows what I pray. Nobody knows what I think. It's being scrambled and no monitoring spirit being sent to me. You're going to know shit. You're being blocked in every way. Why? Because you've been nothing but abusive. All you had to do was book a session and ask some questions and I would have told you outright because I'm transparent and I'm truthful. I got nothing to hide. Just as I said from very day one, I got nothing to fucking hide. I don't lie. All those on the outside, though, wanted to control and dominate and weaponize and demonize me. Boy, they put so many false stories forward, and y'all believed them, didn't ya? Everybody's in the courts, and everybody's in the businesses, and everybody's in the false communities, and all of you with their false titles and your false badges and your false pins. Y'all believed the false, didn't ya? Why? Because you're false. You didn't even ask to come and talk to a divine feminine. You didn't even ask for a validation of her signature. You validated nothing. Why? Because you're sitting in falseness. That's where your vibration's at. And you chose to believe the false stories that you were brought. And meanwhile, the divine feminine sitting all on her own, praying every day in hermit mode, and she's saying the same thing she said 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 fucking years ago. And who are you to touch my life and tell me who I'm going to be and what I deserve? I reclaim every ounce of me and nobody's touching my sexual life force. You haven't earned it. You didn't earn it then, you didn't earn it now, you don't earn it in my future. Because you're not going to be there. You got a lot of work to do, and I give you prayers and I give you forgiveness. Go on your way. You ain't touching me. You ain't my friend, you ain't my family. You had your choice. You had your chances, 1 billion of them. And God said enough. You're not going to rape her anymore. And we ask you this day, dear lighted ones, as we're rewriting humanity, who in any way, of what form, of what badge, of what title, of what elitement, has it in themselves to say what any other deserves and deserves to receive and deserves to have and explore and experience and express unto themselves? Who has that right? And we're going to rewrite laws to align with the universal laws, right use of free will and non-interference. And unless that person has a disability where it's taken on partisan and there are people that have non-biased involved, that is the only way. And it will be done through medical examinations, and it will be done through the free will, and it will be done through interaction of a higher known being that is spiritually aligned. And Source Creator will help in those decisions. Because ain't nobody got a say on nobody's life. Nobody. Nobody has a right to say what anybody deserves to receive. Who the hell are you? Have you known the last 900 lives I've lived in allowing myself to survive and escape your attacks, timeline after timeline after timeline after fucking timeline? These people have not only attacked me this timeline, but 800 before this. Simply because I am who I am. Who are you to say I don't belong anywhere? You have a lot of wounding. Because your wounding is in annihilation. You had a timeline where you annihilated and you started to attack me every timeline since then. Well, how about you heal and how about you forgive? Because you ain't going nowhere until you look in that mirror and you see the damages that you've done and the suffering you've caused. The delays and the derailment and the sabotaging on every level. Who are you? And then you sit in court and you say, I didn't mean to, it was all a joke. We didn't mean to. Well, if anybody looks up across any timeline, across any realm, across any basic human sense, and anybody that doesn't even know anything about energy, and if you ask them, what is magic? It's all intentional. What do you think it is? So what do you mean you didn't intend it? Of course you intended it. That's what magic is. Jar work is. When you conjure and you do 500 rituals on somebody, of course you intended it. Everything was intentional. Everything was focused. Everything was directional. Why I barely survived and Spirit brought me back 4 times. Why? Because you just about took me out 4 times. So your statement of not intending it is fuck shit. It's illegitimate. It's false. And you will be found that in all courts. And I will stand up for myself, and I will stand up for every divine feminine, every person that was taken out before me. Because I survived for a reason, and I speak for every divine feminine from here on out until the end of time. I want to bring a higher role model to all children. Divine feminine and divine masculine. You can be exactly who you want to be. Let nobody touch your soul. They have to have permission to touch your life force. They have to have permission to touch your chakras. Stand in that glory and all that power. That's God's gift to you. And it takes you to the multiverse, because that's where you're from. Your chakras are very sacred and very, very, very high potential. They are treasures unto you only, and none shall touch you. And I will state this to every soul that so chooses, because there are many out there that like to take advantage, because they just don't want to do the healing. They don't know that they have their own life force within it, that their own chakras hold stories for them, only them. They have forgotten that. They have forgotten their intimacy with Source. They have forgotten their intimacy of connection and relationship. Because their focus has been outer. They have been misaligned and misguided all along. So give thanks to them for the stories that they show us, for they are Source too. But you get to stand in your power and say, no more shall I be touched or raped or harvested, and you will not touch my energy in any way. And when I say get out of my energy, it means get out of my energy. You are not allowed back in, ever. You are a very sacred being. Hold your light most high. And as Jesus said to me one day, Joanna, you are worthy of wearing the best raiments, are you not? Because I felt bad if I had bought something that it was just, maybe I bought too much in food this week because I hadn't had much in food to think of, and I hadn't had any money to buy anything, and I felt guilty for buying a little piece of food, and I thought, well, maybe I should have held that money in my purse and my wallet, and I maybe could have spent it later because I might not have money later. And I started coming into that lack mentality, and Jesus reminded me, are you not meant to wear the best raiments, Joanna? How about you think about all the beautiful things that you could wear and explore, and how beautiful clothes and textures feel on your skin, and how beautiful you're going to look in your beauty treatment, and how beautiful you're going to look in your self-spa day, and how beautiful you're going to show all of the women on this planet that taking care of yourself and loving yourself and wearing the best raiments and knowing that you're worthy of such through the intention and the purity of self-love. Not because you want to look better for someone, not because you want more attention, not because you're doing it for outer, not because you're going to do anything for anything else, but self-love and self-care. That's the difference. And those that will be shown on stage and those that will be lifted will be those that have been purely aligned and practiced in so. You do so what you do and how you do it, and you share what you share, and your work is your work, and your vibration is your vibration, and none are like you. Why? Because your vibration is yours and you just must share it. And that's the only reason why you do what you do. Nobody can copy it. Nobody can mimic it. And you share what you share because you simply must share it. It's who you are. You don't do it for glory. You don't do it for gluttony. You don't do it for fame. You don't do it for this. You don't do it for that. And why you can say no to those false contracts that come forward? Because that's not what sells you. What sells you is sharing who you are, in the purity of who you are, and bringing humanity up to new levels of consciousness. Why? That's what matters. Selling yourself out will never matter. It will matter in a beautiful, divine, negative lesson, because there will always be failure and loss in it, damage in it, because you sold yourself. God will say, hold out, you can be with nothing and still be loved and pure. And when you do share yourself with the world, it would be from the purest of intention. Why? Because nothing else matters. You will never sell yourself. You will never give yourself to false contracts. You get to say no to very important things because they want to mold you into what they want to mold you. And you get to say, no, I am who I am, and I'll make my success because everything I touch turns to gold and I need none. There's very important lessons from here on out, dear lighted ones. And every level of ascension, you're going to be tested by those aspects of old 3D reality that still want to sell parts of your soul. Sell your sexuality, sell your importance, sell your value, how you want to be loved, how you want to be treated, how you want to be intimate, and how are you going to allow yourself to feel vulnerable and stand proudly in that vulnerability. That's your intimacy with Source. Why? Because you don't have to have fear of being taken from or raped anymore, because you honor and you take full commandmentship and sovereignty of your fields. You're not going to have rolled eyes looked at you anymore. No, they're going to come and sit at your feet because you're so raw in your vulnerability. You stand in who you are, and you get to say no to those that keep testing you. And even if it means going to court, and then go to court, dear lighted ones, because you'll be supported by the legions, and they'll just find the evidence that they need at the moment they need it, and they'll bring forward someone exactly when it's needed. And the names will be brought forward at exactly when they need to be brought forward. Make no mistake, God's working on your behalf. The miracles will show itself, and everybody reaching karma saying, I don't know why every time I say that girl's name I get karma. I'm not understanding it. Well, perhaps you stop doing black magic on her. Perhaps you stop wishing her bad because it's your wounding that you're not wanting to face. So there's going to be higher vibrational informations for you to tap into. And who are you in the intimacy and the core value of you and Source? And Source will show you in every moment you're soft. It just takes a breath. Take a deep breath. In this moment right now, dear Mother and Father of the highest of creations, as I intend an intimate path with you of higher service, of higher knowing, of higher contraction and expansion of this new timeline in this new realm, in the highest creativity of all that I am as source creator. I want to know myself as a higher intimate sexual being of higher 5D sexuality, of pride and joy and healing and intellectualism and vibration through it. I serve and I nourish my soul and I nourish my chakras and I nourish my 5D mind and brain and higher self so that I bring my presentation of the heavens forward. And I ask you to drench my soul in the intimacy of you. And may my chakras be bathed in your love. May my skin be bathed in your love. May the woundings and the judgments wash away. May the densities and the anger and all that needs to wash away, please take it away. I wish to be intimate with you, Source, so that when I'm walking and enjoying nature, I remember you and I see you and I love you. When I'm moving about my new reality and I'm the one that is creating new realities, I am the one that is creating new systems, I am the one that is creating new intentions, I am the one that is creating new imprints for higher vibrational role models and new ways of knowing and new ways of exploring and new ways of being a very high vibrational, intimate, sexual being, a higher vibrational, intelligent being through which I am fully balanced and in harmony of who I am. Because I'm creating new earth with my intimacy with you. I want to know myself deeper and wider than I've ever known myself before. And those uncomfortable, forgotten places and unnoticed parts of myself, I ask those aspects to come forward. How have I restricted myself? How have I played games with my own energy? How have I given my energy away to those that simply did not deserve it? And I can forgive myself in that every day. How did I allow those to play games with me when I should have just left and closed the door? How did I give my power to those that gave nothing to me? And I forgive myself in that, and I can close the door. What parts and skins of myself can I release that no longer serve? Because they don't nourish me in any way. They just keep karmic cycles running, and I can forgive myself in that. And God says you're intimate with me, because you can forgive yourself just as I can. I never held anything against you, daughter. You were holding yourself in fear, and you were holding yourself in not enough, because others showed you that you were not lovable, because you were different, because you were so very unique and you were awkward in your ways of expression. But we are showing you that that awkwardness of expression is exactly what is needed at this time, and we will lift you, because you are so very pure of heart and you always have been, and you never understood why people treated you the way they did. But you were placed there for that very reason. So be gentle on yourself, dear children. For you have been placed before many that have abused you. And you've been placed before many that didn't see your worth or your value. That didn't treat you kind, and they even hurt you and hit you. Whatever your traumas and whatever your stories are, please notice them. Please be intimate with them and say, I'm okay. I am forgiven, and they are forgiven, and God will love me whole. All I need is God. And I can be intimate with every part of me, because my sexuality is so very valued in who I am. And I'm going to start rewriting this story. It is not bad or it's not negative. How I pleasure myself and how I felt joy in myself and how I want to create new joy in who I am and creativities in who I am and be in the blessing of who I am, and all of it is held within my chakras. I get to define it now. I get to redesign it. I get to establish something new. I want to be soft with Source. Source, can you heal those parts of me where I just don't feel noticed? Can you bring it forward so I can face it and say, I'm gonna bring you into a new version of me. Let's be intimate. And have those higher beings that you can call and say, can you help me expand in higher vibrational ways? I want to reach higher, I want to reach higher, I want to reach higher. Help me reach higher into higher consciousness. I want to know you in higher consciousness ways, Spirit. I want to be intimate with you in higher consciousness ways. My intellect needs you to be higher consciousness with me, Spirit. Seek spirit daily. Seek the softening of spirit daily. Seek the softening of source, where source will say, my goodness, dear, you are so very, very, very wise within who you are to seek me. All you need to do is seek me. I'm here. Mother, Father, God. Pray unto creation, dear children, and we are here. We know each of your names. Pray unto the blessedness that you are blessed every day and every breath, and it is eternal in you, that we have blessed you with eternal life. For you to explore creation as joyfully as we explore you. And as you explore yourselves, creation is expanded. All of creation is touched by your inner seeking. Your vibration within touches all that is matter outside of you, and it shifts your reality within a day, and things look differently. Things feel differently. Things seem differently. And beings before you, and dots and sparks and light and orbs and nature, it's all speaking with you. You're awakening to the intimacy of who you are as source. We awaken all that you are as a vibration of speaking and communicating and being and intimacy. Everything in creation is intimacy, dear lighted one. But in 3D, it's been a game of separation. You shut yourself off to the intimacy of spirit. You've shut yourself off to who you are as sexual beings, to hold it in high regard and honor it with great love and value. And to explore it in sacred, soft ways, intelligent ways, high vibrational ways, and write stories of higher vibrational knowing of who you are. It's been a game of shutting you off, but now you get to remember. You get to reestablish who you are. And be intimate with all that you are, dear lighted ones. It is such a sacred garden. And every unnoticed part of you is a new seed that you can plant again and say, this is what this unnoticed part is now. I can be okay with this. I can face it. I can reharmonize and reintegrate all of those unnoticed parts that were shut down for some reason, somehow, some way. And you get to call it back, and get to reestablish a new intimacy. Mother, Father, love me so. I've always loved you, dear. All you need is love. Can you be the love you've always needed? Can you be the love you seek, that's highest value and highest worthiness? It's always you. It's always been you. Can you be the story and the code of love? Can you be loved so quickly that you forgive everything? Can you be loved so quickly that you state firm boundaries of how to treat you and value you and love you and be intimate with you? Can you teach this to the children? Can you love yourself so much that you treat people in all that is source before you and ask them to treat you with equal kindness and respect? Can you walk forward in knowing that all of humanity is being reestablished and rewritten in the highest pillars that align with the highest of the heavens for the Divine Father's plan and the Divine Mother's seeding of all that is new evolutionary life? Can you be the evolutionary love, dear lighted ones, and hold yourself most high so that you can respect when you do have a bit of easy cash flow in your wallet, that you can feel good about buying yourself something that you so ever deserve? And even the masters will come forward and say, are you not worthy of the best raiments? And if you pause, and if you wonder, and if you question, then give yourself a little bit more love. For Mother, Father, God will always wrap you in the best raiments the moment that you are born. And the angels stand over you the moment that you are born. And you are sung precious songs the moment that you are born. And every day that you walk, there are angels walking with you because you are held so high. And the game of separation taught you otherwise. There's not a moment that you don't have an angel with you. Are you not blessed? Can you be intimate with the angels with you? Say, please help me soften, angels. Please help me know myself in higher vibrational ways so that I be a higher representation of the heavens and I be a higher representation of myself, and I know myself in more glorious ways. Can I be this source? Can I be this spirit? Can I be this mother? Can I be this father? Can I be this angels? Can I be this Gaia? Can I be this fairies? Can I be this gnomes? Can I be this my celestials and my aliens? Can you help me be this higher consciousness being? I want to expand and contract in these new templates. I want my chakras healed. As it comes forward, I will face it, and I will love it, accept it radically in love. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being soft and gentle with me. And no matter what I need, when I need it, how I need it. And sometimes you just sit with nothing because why? You didn't need it. And God will show you, my goodness, you're loved either way. Can you be okay in the not having? Can you be okay in the not understanding? Can you be okay in the surrender into source in a deeper part of you that you never knew before, but now you got to trust a little bit more? Why? Because every ascension cycle, you're going to have to surrender and let go and detach and trust your guides a little bit more. They know what they're doing. They're going to move exactly where you need to be moved and place you in front of who you need to be placed in front of. And they're going to move people out of the way that need to be moved out because they're not on the same ride you are. Can you trust your guides? Every night you go to bed, say, my guides and my higher self and Mother, Father, God, and all of the legions of light that I walk with and the systems of light that I walk with, I trust you unconditionally. Please allow me to expand in whatever timeline that is my highest and my best. I trust you and I surrender to you. Your guides want nothing more than your unconditional trust. Can you do that? Can you know that your guides are a higher part of you and they only want the highest and the best for you? They only want you to be loved by the highest people. They only want you to be loved by those beings that can give you the most love. They only want to be giving you those people that know you the best and want to see the best for you, that want to be the best for you, that want to rise up to new levels with you. Can you understand and know that the universe and creation and Mother, Father, God and your spirits and your guides and your teams and all those that act on your behalf of the universe, they're always acting in your highest and the greatest good? Because there are some times where you need to remember who you are as godly. And sometimes your value has to come in the taking away. Sometimes your value has to come in the not having anything at all. Sometimes the value has to come in letting go of those you never thought you'd let go of, but you have to because you know they're not right for you. That's loving yourself. There's nothing greater self-loving act than letting go of those that abuse you. And the universe will respond in kind. And the universe will wrap you in the highest level of raiments. And you'll be met by the heavens to say, you did the right thing. It was all about self-love. That's all it's ever about. So don't listen to anybody that tells you anything different. It's always about self-love. That's your intimacy with Source. And explore this in your coming week, dear lighted ones, of how you can be more intimate with who you are in the higher sexuality and what that means for a 5D entrainment. Can you get to the unknowable parts, the uncomfortable parts, where you've restricted yourself, where you've held yourself back in restriction, where you've been dominated and where you've given your control and your power away? And have it harmonized into a beautiful new story, and you get to reestablish it, you write it, you get to build something new. You get to have higher vibrational conversations, and people look at you as if you're a prophet out of the ancients. I said, yeah, I've always been this. I've always been higher intellect. I just haven't given myself the permission. I've always been a high intellect being. I'm not going to hide it anymore. It's part of my nourishment. I need that before me to be nourished. I'm not going to hide no more. My creativity exists within my uniqueness of my expression. And that's what you'll realize in this intimacy, delighted ones, that what you've been hiding and what you've been suppressing and what you've been holding back and what you haven't been sharing with others and haven't been vulnerable with others is exactly what you need to be all that you can be in a new expression of you. And it's part of your abundance. It's part of your creativity, and it is part of you showing the way. So be all that you can be and be okay in it. Your worthiness is okay in the shadow. It's okay in the light. Make it yours. Speak your story of the shadow times. Speak your story of the loving times. Speak your story of those high vibrational times that some just might not understand. Some might not understand that you have a 7th dimensional partner that you speak to every night. That's okay. It's your path. It's your story. You're not asking anybody to understand and be okay and accept and validate your story. Your story is just between you and God and you and the heavens. That's where you know your compass is, and you'll be tested, dear lighted ones. Your compass is just with you and God. You don't need to validate anything. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to substantiate a thing. God will never ask you to substantiate yourself. That is of the devil. You'll be placed in situations where you have to stand with your staff and your mantle, and you have to speak of your experiential story. And you come forward with the highest value of what your experience has been and how you have learned and how you have grown, and how people have treated you and how you've seen beyond it and forgiven them anyways. And your compass will always be, who are you within you? And only you and God know what you've done in your transmutation. Only you and God have known what you've sat forward in your initiations in the most highest level of intimacy and said, I'm okay with nothing, God. I surrender everything I am to you. I might not have anything. I'm okay with you taking more away from me. I trust you unconditionally. I'm intimate with you, and all I want to be is with you. God will say, we're leveling up to a new level of marriage, dear. Can you handle it? I said, yes, dear. Yes, Mother, Father God, I'm married to you in a new way. For I felt that I was punished in all these years. And Mother, Father said, no. We needed you to tell those stories where the voices weren't able. That's why we used what we call bait. You went to places that no other person could go or would go because you knew the vibrational stories and you could discern. You could read psychically what was going on, and you can place it within the collective stories of the many abuses and the many realms and the many peoples that were involved in the abuses. There's many reasons that some are unknowable and uncountable in this way of why Joanna has been led in the ways that she has been led. And the stories will come out in your futures of time, and they will be written in great books and texts. And what you would call your papyrus, to hold for many ancient future generations. And what has been the great uplifting of humanity, of how corruption has been, and how it affected one very divine being that was gifted to you from many of the multiverse, and that each is no different to each of you before you and the children that stand before you, and how sacred and valued each and every one of them are to the all. For the all are sacred children to Mother, Father, and all are equal in their value of love and benevolence and divine expressive gifts. And the story of Joanna, because of her expertise and energy, and she was able to change and shift from her vibration all that was before in matter. And why the predictions are so when she comes forward with it so. Because her say is so. That was part of her learning. To stand in that say, that godly say. Why? Because it's been practiced intimacy. And practiced initiation, and practiced surrender, and practiced trust. Mother, Father, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's going on. I understand what the story is of me being the bait to all of these corrupt beings of elitism, because nobody's been able to catch them before. Nobody's been able to survive their sacrifices before. Nobody's been able to call them out on their corruption before, because there's been so much money, there's been so many people, there's been so many high hands involved, and everybody that's touched the piece of paper has been corrupt. Until now. And this is a precedent across the entire planet, and it will shift everything. Systems are shifting through this one discrimination case. And everybody will face the discriminations and the disruptions and the corruptions of everybody involved. And everybody will have to face what they choose. For they have been shown that there is source creator, that there is a God beyond what you've ever been taught and told and shown before. And why can a Christ consciousness not come for you in a divine feminine, in the ancients and in the futures and in the celestials and in the aliens and in the hybrids and in the Gaia, in all that she is as she speaks? And why can this not be? And who is anybody to state that what anybody cannot be and cannot receive and cannot explore themselves to receive and explore and express? Who is that of anybody but the Divine Mother and Father and creation through which they choose to be of themselves? These are the higher philosophies of 5D, dear lighted ones. The unto itself is everything, for it will expand each and every aspect of creation. Who are you unto thyself? Be intimate with this, explore it. Be creative, be dynamic, be sexual, be intelligent, be intellectual, be emotional. This is where you're stepping up to. And why great beings like Joanna will step before you, because she's had experience. And that experience is priceless. Many of you are now getting that have come against her. You're getting that. And this is why she will not sell out to you. She will not sell out to your false offers and your false contracts to bind her and bound her. Because what she is vibration will not be bound. She's proven that to you. She will not be in your weaponization program. She will not bow to your technology abuses. And she will tell you when she has been sacrificed and ritualized. She can feel it when she wakes up in the morning and has to clear the energy field. She knows what's being done in dream time. And this is when she has said, no more. We've told you, you shall not touch her. How much karma are you willing to expose yourself to? These are the abuses that children go through, and you have no right. None of your human programs or human experimenting, how is that high evolutionary? Ask yourselves that, military people. And you will find yourself at the gates of the heaven, and you will be passed away. Why? because you don't care about human. You don't care about spirit. You don't care about your alignment with source. And we're telling you that right now. This experience that Joanna has gone through is bringing up everything that has been dark and needs to be faced. Do so in your own free will, dear lighted ones. You will never escape the unity message. You are one with all and all with one. What you do to another, you're doing to yourself, and you will have to face it, one way or another. There ain't no preaching going on. They're just universal truths. Look at the laws of the universe. You'll face it every time, and why your laws will change. So speak of these secret society abuses. They do not hold power over you. They will not bully and they will not intimidate you. State your truth now because you're changing all creation. That is your godliness. That's your sovereignty. That's what they've been hiding from you, and they don't want you to learn and remember who you are as source. There were many difficulties in Joanna's past, and we have assisted in many ways. Because she is of all codes and lands, and brings with great wisdoms of intellect. And that, my friends, is her will to bring forward into new templates of higher consciousness beingness, to explore in new ways for all children, for all kinds, for all life, for all nature, to be changed forevermore. And why can't that be a beautiful intention? What are the intentions for your new planet? What beautiful intentions! Can you allow everything to be, wow, a song of new creation? What a beautiful intention, Mother, Father, to give us new gardens to play in, to have ourselves be seen in higher vibrational ways and new role models that speak of higher intellect and come from past and present and futures in ways that we could not imagine. Why can't that be beautiful? We can be beyond the conformity. We can be beyond conformity of subjugation and suppression of what we thought we were and told we were and suppressed in little tiny religious boxes and taken for every ounce of our energy because others wanted to just be so greedy and selfish. But we can say, no, you're not going to do that anymore because I've learned my lessons of all that I am and I'm reclaiming my power on every level and in every way. You ain't touching me this time. You get to state something new. And then you get to be that expansion and contraction one more time with Mother Spirit when you reclaim your power and you soften one more time and you alchemize one more time. Mother, Father, I just claim myself to be something new, and I want to wear the best raiments and I want to experience the best things that you have for me. I surrender it to you, and whatever may be, and I'm okay with whatever is. And that is when you are purely enlightened, happy, detached, surrendered, and trusting. You want for naught but Mother, Father. It is the perfect protection of the Mother, the protection of the Father, and the systems of light working on your behalf in every step, because they will protect you when you walk for the greater good. When you are protesting who you are as a valued being of life, when you are protecting the children, when you are protecting the earth, when you are protecting your sacred trinity of what you know to be true and you're so passionate to bring forward, you absolutely, absolutely know that you will be protected tenfold by the legions. So speak out when you need to speak out. Say what you need to say, even if it's the highest ranking person you need to say something about. You got to say it. Because Joanna thought that in all of these elite titles and elite powers and the monies that were brought forward, and everybody laughed and everybody joked about her offerings, and how they laughed at who she was, and how they laughed about what an easy target she was, how easy it was to steal from her the 10 years previous. How much money they had taken from her and hid from her. How much they had veiled her and allowed her not to be successful on any level, in any way. So many curses and so many hexes impaled her like a darkness mountain surrounding her. And they laughed at her falling, and they laughed at her suffocating in darkness, while they partied, and they allowed themselves to buy and purchase whatever it was, and they laughed at such an easy target that she was. That was part of God's plan as well. How do we judge and underestimate and discriminate what you have labeled disenfranchised? And why is the divine feminine disenfranchised? Why have you allowed it to be so? And those that have been called forward, make no mistake about it, it'll be in your news. Of the highest names, and they will be mostly male. And the minions that they have bought and sold, and they have traded, and they have bribed, and the witches and the warlocks alongside, and the voodooists, and all of those that have taken part in trying to attack and bring down one divine feminine heavenly healer. of realms and universes you don't even know about, and you never will because your consciousness is just not there and you don't care to understand. And you are told one more sacred story. Why did it have to get to this point, dear lighted ones, where you were all dragged into court, and you all fought God on every last inch of the way, and you played chess with God every inch of the way, and you refused to heal, and you refused to give credit to the divine feminine that stood before you every day, just offering peace and truth and higher wisdoms, and there was always a higher way. Everything could be healed. Perhaps you go and heal. And even though that divine feminine sitting before you today knew that she has been stolen from in 8 ways to Sunday and a million more, and they continued to laugh and they continued to defame her and blasphemy and degrade her and bring such false stories that this one sweet soul never ever deserved, for she is of the sweetest of the kind, and the heavens will protect her until every dying day. She walks with the unicorns, and she walks with the fairies, and she walks with the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and Andromedans. She walks with beings you can't even pronounce. And she brings great light to this planet and great seeds of new potentials of the light cities that she is ahead of. She traverses timelines faster than you can blink. She is in the past, she is in the present, she is in the future, and all timelines in between. And who the hell is anybody to say what she deserves? And Mother, Father, God will remind you, if you touch a beautiful soul like this ever again, you will be brought down to your knees and you will not get up. For your arrogance has been your demise. And what point are you going to sit down, Satan? Is your arrogance so wounded that you need to defame and target an innocent female and bully and gang up to 50 or more with all your money and all your elitism and all your special badges and all your special bars on your sleeve? And is that the story you walk with? When you could have just said, how can we create a win-win for the better and the greater good of humanity? Would that not have been easier than the millions spent on stalking and spying and targeting and defaming and deglorifying and blasphemy and weaponizing and human testing and human stalking and human research and watching me online to see if any of your work is working? The many voodooists that you have paid. Would it have not been easier to have a conversation? How can we work together for the greater good of all humanity? Can we put our guns down? For Joanna never carried a gun. She never will. She is protected by the Legion. She has no right to. She has no need to. She will never have an urge to ever carry anything of a weapon, for they are egregious to the sacred life of spirit. It goes against her will. For we have told her and shown her that we have placed her in the very middle of wolves, and those that have sucked the life out of so many and harmed the life of so many and had the lives of so many just leave this planet. And she trusted us unconditionally, and she has come out without a scrape. And we've helped rework her a few times. Yes, that's true. And she has left her body a few times. Yes, that is true. And few would have survived what she went through. And yes, that is true. These are the stories of a divine master that's been here many times. And it is this... Ooh, that scared me. Somebody's car alarm's going off. This is the timeline where those lineages are coming to face themselves in the ways that they never have done before. The very lineages that have been trying to harvest humanity out of the spirit of who they are. And it will be stopped. Everyone must look at what they create and why. Why do you create what you create? And are you healed in that creation? And most often than not, you will look at what needs to be healed and accepted and loved. And so thus then, dear lighted ones, we always ask with great love and honor as we walk with you in every step. We are never without you. Soften and be intimate in every moment, and you will be profoundly surprised at how much more loving God is with you as you are with God. For you're realizing God is new things in every day, in every way. And your creativity will astound you and bring you great delight. And it will create greater sexual experiences that are of higher vibration and higher intelligence, because you're intending it. You're intending to be valued in new ways, because you're reaching places and you're creating places that have never been done before. So speak of it, be excited about it, gather in groups about it, discuss it with great excitement and great joy. You're reaching new exclamation points in your reality. And all that was and all that has been is being shown, and it's being purged and forgiven all. For everybody plays their part to heal humanity, and everybody gives an appointment every day and an opportunity with Source every day to sit down and say, what part of this game do I wish to play? In separation or in unity? In negativity and harm and hurt, or in greater good and healing? Everybody chooses the side of infinity that they play on. And know this, you will not just be given higher consciousness. You will never be able to swap a destiny with somebody of higher consciousness where you of lower consciousness have not earned it or healed yourself into any level of embodiment. You must understand consciousness is everything. You cannot swap a destiny with somebody that you have not entrained or prepared yourself, not even an ounce for, or never will have, because you sit in wounding. You have to understand that the secret society abuses have been misguided and misunderstood and misrepresented for the information they have brought forward to you. You cannot destiny swap with those that have higher consciousness. And again, look at the very statement. Why would you want to? You have no sense of self. You don't understand who you are, and you're not doing the work. You're acting from, behaving from wounding. And where will that lead you? Draw it out. It will lead you in self-implosion and extinction, like we've told you many times before. Everything is consciousness. It is an equation of quantum source creator. Everything is source. Those that have higher consciousness have a higher equation of source and why they are given, why they are blessed, why they are lifted, why they have gone through the initiations, why they have been prepared, and each and every one of you have a unique soul blueprint. Tap into your own. Stop focusing on others. That's been the soul lesson from the beginning. Stop focusing on others. Go within. Reconnect and rebuild who you are with the highest level of intimacy with Source. Who are you? If you're focusing on others, you are lost. Go within. Who are you? You will never have a destiny like another, ever. You will never be at the same consciousness level as another. You will never be at the same temperament and pacing as another. And there will be those placed before you where you get to say goodbye to because they need to be moved. And there will be those placed before you get to work with and you get to move with and you get to be a guide and they get to be a guide to you. And you get to negotiate how you wish to experience yourself with each other and express yourself with each other. How are you going to 3E's with each other? You get to negotiate that because you're standing in your sovereignty. Nobody makes those decisions for you. You are godly. You are the sovereign Christ consciousness. You are the sovereign Metatronic light. We're teaching you how to work with your bodies of light because you are light. And there are those that can temper you and those that create temperaments with you. You get to choose how you walk forward with whom and how. It's all you. And some are very, very triggered, especially by Divine Feminine, that get to choose their own way. And Divine Feminine have a voice now. No, we do have a voice. We will speak on our own accord. We do have intelligence. We are intellectually abundant. We are spiritually abundant. I am an abundant soul, and much that I have to offer can be understood. I don't need to validate anything. I've told you from day one. Mother sent me here. Why do you need to keep pressing? Why do you need to keep playing chess with God? I said stay out of my way. I said stay out of my lane. I said get out of my energy. I said stop raping me vibrationally. Why do you have to keep playing chess with God? Because you need to remember that there is a God. Because you've forgotten in your separation and in your stories you told yourself, you're so very broken. So get intimate with God again. This was not a test for me, dear lighted ones. It was a test for you. Because you forgot there was a God. One God, the God, all God, source God. And the little box stores that you separated God in. Those were just moments you wanted to explore and express. Be okay with it. Judge not. Have it a part of your story. That's not God. The God that brings you back into unity. The God that says, we're always forgiven. You don't even have to ask. Love yourself. Can you do that now? Can you be intimate with me now? Can we love ourselves a little bit more, children? Can we play with each other more, children? Can we have fun with each other now, children? Can we create goodness, children? Can you put down the weapons, children? Can you put down the judgment, children? Can you put down the discrimination, children? Can we love ourselves a little bit more, children? You're high vibrational beings, children. Why don't you act and behave it and become it? And everybody has equal voice. Make no mistake about that. And anybody fighting against it will have themselves sit right back down. Why? Because you're never going to get away from this unity lesson. You treat each other as divine, and so too you are. Anything you do to another is going to come right back to you. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. That's the law. These are higher order laws. Get with it. And if you still keep fighting, you still keep refusing, then you're going to be on the hardest path. And you'll still show yourself in the end, they were my wounds after all. Had nothing to do with that other person. They were all about me. And why God separated you a long time ago. You will not touch my energy. I will not be bought and sold. I will not be traded. I will not be exploited on the underground. You'll all be sent your immediate curses and your immediate karmas and how it needs to be sent, and only God is directing it. Through your own guides, through your own ancestors, because your ancestors are tired of you not listening to God. Your ancestors are tired of you not heeding the spirit and your higher self saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, he did it. And there goes the karma. How many more times have we got to tell you, don't touch my daughter? Treat entire life outside of you as if it's sacred, because it is. Because you know what? You're not guaranteed the next time around. You're not guaranteed higher consciousness. You're not guaranteed a light body. You got to earn it. And nobody had the right to do what they did to this young lady sitting before you. She's divine and she's sacred, and we hold her in the Most High, and we will celebrate her every evening that you don't. And she knows that with us, and that's okay with her. She doesn't need your acceptance. Her compass is us. And that's been her initiation. Nobody initiates Joanna. That's why she will not join your clubs and your little secret societies and your little secret things, because she doesn't want to be a part of it. She's fully transparent. Why would she want to be in a secret thing? That's your thing. That's not her thing. She doesn't want to join your vibration. She's told you that, but you forced. And then you beat her and attacked her to make sure that, why, you're not going to be with us, you're not going to work with us. Well, let's impale her a little bit more. Because we just want it our way. Why can't we have it our way? We have to have it our way. We've been dominating this planet for 4,000 years. Why can't we have it our way? And God's going to show each and every one of you. She's godly, and she will state her own will. And what she states is her own godly will, and she will make new rules. And the planet will follow her. You got that? And if you're not okay with that and you're triggered by that, you better go with him with God, because that's the way it is. She speaks life over life. We've given her that authority. She doesn't need your initiations or your secret groups, and she will not take false contracts, fake contracts. She will not take anything that she is not worthy of. So you better bring your best numbers, because there ain't nothing less is going to do. Everybody knows what they stole. Everybody knows what they took, and it better include damages of recompense. Because we've been telling you for many, many years, stay off her path. She's got divine plans within her that are secretly coded with God, and she knows what she's doing. She works with God very intimately. She's here to make new way for the whole of creation. Make no mistake, she knows what she's doing. And she is the compass. So get out of her way. Hashanama Aitikeshanama Heshanama Aitikeshanama Asesianama Atikeshanama Atikeshanama. Alamana dedication, Namaka Edicate, Namaka dedication, Namaka dedicate, Nama Adication, Nama Ada de Nama Ada de Nana I dedicate, Nana dedicate, Nai and Nakada de Amma dedicate, Nai dedicate, Nai dedicate, Nana. Ashinamakara de K, Namakara de Kai, Namakara de Kish, and Namakara de Nama. Take a deep breath. Lots of stuff going on in the pineal. So Spirit was showing me in that last light language that light language was about your unique coding of who you are with Source and the Source divine blueprint for you going forward. Because I think a lot, I don't always remember what's being channeled. The last part was about she knows what she's doing. So you are each your compass to yourself. So that's what that light language was about, is that was a reintegration of your unique compass with Mother, Father, God. So I just wanted to give that to you. And then, of course, light language is whatever you want it to be, because it's bypassing your old programming. So each and every one of you have a different programming as to what your blueprint is with God. But because we're reaching new 5D templates, what I wanted to explore today was just go a little bit further into sacred sexuality, what that was about. Again, softening into exploring intimacy, what that means to you on all of the multidimensional levels. And also being ready and okay to have those conversations with those that you want to maintain relationship with. Because we will be building higher vibrational relationships. So look forward to that. All of our relationships are going to be higher vibrational. So really put those imprints in the field, and put the imprints in that we're supporting divine masculines in their healing. We're supporting everybody in their healing. We're supporting everybody wherever they're at. And the biggest lesson that we've brought forward from all of our 3D timelines is that focus on yourself, stay out of everybody's lane, and align with the universal laws. Right? And then the more respect you have for your body and your fields, others will have that respect as well. Because remember, the outer is just a reflection of the inner. So as you keep reflecting on the respect and the worthiness of you to wear the highest raiments, to be that highest reflection, others will have that for you as well, because it's just a mutual vibrational experience. And again, call in those higher vibrational soulmates to have that contraction expansion of the higher intelligence for those Metatronic codes to help heal the sacral chakra. So there's going to be a lot of beautiful, wonderful things coming out in the next 6 months. We can't wait for that. So thank you, dear lighted ones. We love you. We love you. We love you so very much for having these beautiful high vibrational conversations. Anybody that would like to donate, I'm so grateful for anybody that likes to donate to help me rebuild. Again, I'm not waiting for anybody to do anything right, obviously, because they refused not to. And so any money that you can send in donation, classes for Ascension, classes for 5D alignment, just send it through my PayPal. And I usually get back to you within 24 hours. And I thank you and I love you so very much. I love all my clients. I love you. Rainbow kisses and tickles. And don't forget, please share our channel, even if it's veiled or shadow banned. Nothing can stop anybody from sharing the videos that you share. So that always helps us grow as well. And don't forget to like the video before you click off. We love you so very much. Namaste, and please give love and kisses to all the children, nature, and animals, and beautiful, beautiful Gaia, and all of our celestials and ancestors. Send your ancestors crystal